at a taxi rank in Philippi East yesterday. 4 others were critically injured and the victims included passengers. A taxi driver was killed while 3 other people sustained injuries at a taxi rank in Khayelitsha also yesterday. Western Cape Mobility MEC Isaac Sileku says the attacks are disturbing.
This violence is an attack on innocent commuters, and those who choose conflict over peace will face the full force of the law. I am exploring additional measures within the regulatory framework to strengthen stability in the taxi industry and ensure accountability from operators and associations.
Gender activists say the murder of a 20-year-old woman who was stabbed to death allegedly by her ex-boyfriend in the Northwest has sparked anger in the community. Lazarus Antonio was arrested last Friday after posting a video on social media showing the bloody scene where Gaugelo Marota's lifeless body lay in Maubani. It's understood they had an altercation at a tavern last Thursday. Antonio then stabbed his current girlfriend at home, who survived the attack and had to be hospitalized. The 26-year-old appeared in the Temba Magistrates Court yesterday, facing charges of murder and attempted murder. Gender activist Vicky Lamula says attacks on women must come to an end.
We are not going to play with people that kill, people that think that GBV is something to play with. We are very angry as a community, and we're not going to stand for this.
The Board of Healthcare Funders say Parliament evaded its constitutional obligations when it passed the National Health Insurance Bill in 2023 so that the ANC could use it as an electioneering platform. In a new legal challenge against the legislation, which has not yet come into effect, the medical scheme body is now challenging Parliament's public participation process. The healthcare funders say Parliament adopted the bill blindly without crucial information such as the services that will be offered under the Act and the cost involved. Lindsay Dentlinger takes a look.
After being introduced to Parliament in 2019, the National Health Insurance Bill was passed by the National Council of Provinces in December 2023 and signed into law by the President in May last year, just days before the national elections. In papers filed with the Constitutional Court, the BHF says the timing of the bill's passing leads it to believe there was an ulterior purpose to getting it over the line. It says the overwhelming inference is that the ANC majority at the time ignored the bill's shortcomings and failed to consider public concerns because it wanted to use it for electioneering. For these reasons, the BHF argues by passing the bill, Parliament's actions were irrational, grossly unreasonable and unconstitutional. The fund says it's not against healthcare reform and universal access, but it's acting in the interest of a transparent, lawful and effective health system and a legislative passage that has followed due process. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
And finally, for the next 2 weeks, Tembisa residents will benefit from dental, optometry and general health services all on a train. The mobile clinic offers dental care for a mere 10 Rand with medication available for 5 Rand. Residents can also access optometry, psychology and just general health checkups, making healthcare more accessible to those who need it most. Mongezi Koko has more.
The 19-coach Pilopepa train operated by the Transnet Foundation had previously been stationed in Olifantsfontein but now rolls into Tembisa, bringing quality healthcare straight to the community, all on track. Staffed by doctors, nurses, dentists, optometrists and psychologists, the team will be serving residents until next Friday. And if you think healthcare can't be fun, think again. The train's got everything from teeth to eyes and even a little mental health TLC. Transnet says the train represents its commitment to ensuring healthcare reaches every corner of South Africa, especially underserved communities. The mobile clinic will continue to visit communities like Tembisa to keep healthcare on the move. Songezo Zibi, Eyewitness News.
Gold is trading at $3,376.17 an ounce. The rand is at 17.59 to the dollar, 23.69 to the pound, 20.48 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $68.50 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N1 North between Beyers Nodia Drive and Malibongwe Drive due to a major accident between these 2 points. Malibongwe Drive in itself, it's backed up towards the N1 while traveling in Kempton Park. Bumper-to-bumper traffic along the R21 North between Atlas Road and Pomona Road due to an earlier accident.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 28 and 29 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, the Mandlanga Commission of Inquiry into alleged police capture will no longer start next week due to procurement delays.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Gauteng's greatest awards with 702 and Yoko. Let's celebrate excellence, one vote at a time. Go to primediaplus.com now to vote for the finalist that makes Gauteng feel like home.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app,
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
Nine minutes after 9 o'clock. Dumelang. Welcome to the Clement Manyathela Show on this Tuesday, the 26th of August. Great to have you with us here on 702. The open line starts now on 011-883-0702. The WhatsApp line is 072-702-1702. Here's a question. How hopeful are you about this country? Because sometimes it seems like it's burning everywhere, but it's not, of course. But sometimes it feels like that, it seems like that. And I wonder how hopeful you are currently about this country. Last week we were talking about the levels of crime and how unsafe we are. This morning you've got top cops fighting each other in court. The current police minister, Songezo Zibi, is on special leave, facing serious allegations, including of protecting business people by disbanding the political killings task team. You've got a former police minister, Bekikele, who has tried to call a man who is in jail now, facing serious allegations, Clement Manyathela. He tried to call him 10 times before this businessman got arrested. That's the same man, this businessman, who got an over 300 million rand tender from the police, which later had to be cancelled by Songezo Zibi, by the way. Cele had used the businessman's fancy apartment in Pretoria, and yet Cele wants to tell us that, oh, we're not friends. I met him once. Do they really think that we're children? Look at what's happening at these small implementing entities for government departments. The corruption there is so rife. Weren't we outraged just the other day by the DTI? Is it IDT or DTI? DTI. IDT? IDT. Oh, God. We were outraged just the other day by the IDT. Now you've got the Government Pensions Administrations Agency that is in trouble. These people are stealing so much money at these small state agencies, these implementing agencies of government departments. And the thing is, we don't pay a lot of attention to these small implementing agencies. The Daily Maverick was reporting that the Colin Mashabane Foundation received work from the IDT. Tenders. And then Colin Mashabane, according to the Daily Maverick, is busy heading a construction at Waterfall of a house belonging to the CEO of the IDT, the Family Trust, Colin Mashabane. Why are these things normal? Like, why are we not outraged about that? Like, have we gotten to a point where it's okay? Like, a businessman and his foundation can receive a tender from an implementing agency of a government department. And then they are busy at Waterfall building a house for this same CEO. And we are okay with that? Like we are moving on like nothing happened? We are so desensitized. Like we get so outraged when a woman or a child is brutally murdered and raped, and 2 weeks later, we've moved on. Is there anything to be hopeful about when we get to that state where we become so desensitized? There are so many things that are happening that are wrong, and we're just like, oh, we're used to this. And maybe we've been abused so much over the last 30 years that we've come to realize that nothing is ever going to happen. People protect each other. Let's just move on with life. We're not outraged enough. I mean, you've got the CEO of the IDT. I mean, the Daily Maverick has released another video now where you can see the CEO. It says, when the journalist says, okay, what do you guys have? The CEO says 60, referring to the 60,000 rand that was paid. And yet the same CEO went and lied on ENCA and said, I was set up. I didn't know even about the money that was going to be offered. And we're just moving on. Nothing is happening. I bet you, is she not back at work? Is she not at the office? Hey, what gives you hope about this country when we are at this state? And what do you love about this country? Because it's not all doom and gloom, and maybe that's what we need to do. Oh, the CEO is suspended. But she was suspended before the video, hey? She was suspended because there was actually an investigation that was done. You would have hoped that maybe are the Hawks going to come in here? Is somebody going to investigate the paying of the bribe? Like, what's going to happen? But I don't know. Maybe these things are happening in the background. I'm so despondent. And I don't mean to weigh your spirit down this morning, but this is one of those mornings where I'm listening to the news, I'm reading the newspapers, and I'm so despondent and I'm so sad about our country. I'm so disappointed in our country. It's one of those mornings where I'm just feeling sad. And I'm sorry if that's weighing you down. That's why I'm hoping that some of you can call and say, this is what's great about this country, Clement. It's not all bad. 011-883-0702. At around 9:30, I want us to look closely at this decision that the Higher Education Minister Buti Manamela has taken to place 3 SETAs under administration. That's another thing that's questionable here, that we seem to also be moving on. He has appointed administrators. He's placed 3 SETAs under administration, and it doesn't look like he's followed the law. When the SETAs asked the DG, okay, what are the reasons for the minister putting us under administration? The DG says, oh, I don't know. It's the minister's decision. Haven't we been here before with the former higher education minister that the president had to fire? The higher education minister, Buti Manamela, who was here about a week ago, has now appointed these administrators who've got questionable backgrounds. And then now he goes to the Public Service Commission and says, please vet these people and check their background. Are you kidding me? You've appointed people without vetting them, without checking their backgrounds. And now when the EFF and the DA raise concerns about these people and what they've done in the past, you then go to the Public Service Commission and you say, vet them. What is that? One of the people that he's appointed to be an administrator, Nkwane, is a former manager at Mfuleni local municipality. He was implicated in a forensic report about the mismanagement of 872 million rand in municipal funds. Another administrator, Masoga, is a former ANC MEC in Limpopo, who was previously implicated in another forensic report for backdating a 4 million rand communications tender at the time he was CEO of the Musina Makado Special Economic Zones in that province. Did the minister not know all of this? Or maybe he did, and he thought, these are my comrades. I'm going to give them the opportunity. I've tried since yesterday, in fact, since Sunday. We've tried to get the minister to come and explain this. We've tried to get his spokesperson to come and explain this. We've tried to get the DG to come and explain this. None of them are interested to come talk to us, to explain to you as South Africans these decisions that they've taken. So I'm going to speak to the Higher Education Committee Chair in Parliament, because I think they've got to ask some serious questions here, because we've been here before. And I'm hoping to also bring in the Public Service Commission. Is he coming? Okay, not yet. The producers are still working on that. The Public Service Commission, who is now going to do the work that the minister should have done before appointing these people. That's what's going to happen before we wrap up the 702 Open 9. But between 10 and 11 o'clock, we're going to be in conversation with the leader of Rise Mzansi, Songezo Zibi. At 11 o'clock, we do our World of Work feature. Today, we're discussing how to navigate generational gaps in the workplace. We've got all these different generations working side by side. Baby boomers, Generation X, millennials, Gen Zs. So we're going to talk to someone who will help us navigate, because we do things differently as different generations, and sometimes there can be clashes in the workplace. At 11:30, we'll be discussing Botox. It was once seen as a luxury reserved for Hollywood celebrities, but Botox has become increasingly common here at home, with people from different walks of life seeking it out. So we'll tell you more about that at 11:30. That's the show coming up over the next 3 hours.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Antonio, you're calling from Montgomery Park. Good morning.
Clement, how are you?
We'll get there. How are you, Antonio?
Yeah, we'll get there. I think it's a good answer. Clement, I'm going to be brief. I think you asked a question, how do we deal with this? Today it's this issue, tomorrow it's that issue. The CEO of the IDT, tomorrow it's an MEC. Clement, I think as South Africans we have corruption fatigue. There's so many issues to deal with. You're still figuring out one set of issues, then there's another one. And I think a lot of this requires a rethink of accountability. Who do we hold accountable? I speak on a correction, but maybe we have about close to 15, 20 political parties in Parliament. And I don't think we're holding them. Yeah, I'm excluding the ANC because you can't hold yourself accountable. As a member of the ANC for almost 30 years, I've gotten to the realization that we can't hold ourselves accountable. But those parties outside of the ANC, how are we holding them accountable for doing their job in terms of oversight? We shouldn't be doing it. They are MPs, members of parliament, members of provincial MPLs, that we should be, you bringing Rise Mzansi on there. Tell me about a case that Rise Mzansi is following up, have investigated, and they pursuing something that they have held someone accountable. You're not there to earn a salary as a Musi Maimani and all these people that of the opposition parties. You're there to hold the legislature accountable. And I think we need to start having a conversation to say, how do we hold parties outside of the ANC accountable?
Yeah. Right, Antonio. So not just the ANC, but what about the other parties and the work they're supposed to do? Buti, you're in the East Rand. What are your thoughts? Good morning. Hi, Buti. Okay, Buti's still sleeping. We'll come back to him. Tulani in Centurion. Hi.
Hi, Clement.
Sure.
To answer your question, the only thing that keeps me excited about this country at this point in time, it's just the people and the weather. Other than that, everything is just doom and gloom. I promise you, it is just doom and gloom. The kind of things that these politicians get up to, it's a horror movie. It looks like a horror movie, and the brazenness around it, it just gets you thinking, where is this country going to be in the next 10 years or so? I really, really pity, and my heart bleeds when I think about the future of the little kids in this country. I doubt we'll have a country in about 10 years or so. Clement, if you want a position in this country, you have to be a member of the ANC. It doesn't matter whether you're qualified or not. If you want to apply and be successful, for any position. You have to be a member of the ANC. In fact, they go to an extent of asking you, are you a member in good standing? And only then will they consider you. It doesn't matter. You can have the best qualifications, best experience, best everything. A cadre from somewhere who shouts and screams a lot at a meeting, who waffles a lot at meetings of the ANC, will get that position before you. I mean, some of the positions some of us know way beforehand. When they are advertised, I already know who's going to be appointed in that position.
Tulani, that's not a country that's not where we want to be. Rakwena, you're in Pretoria North. Hi.
Hi, Clement. How are you, sir?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, I will be honest with you, man. I think the evidence on the ground and the symptoms of a failing state are very conspicuous in South Africa here. We have seen many countries go down the drain, and we have refused to learn from those countries. And now we have allowed the very same things that we have seen collapse in many countries happen in this country here. One of the things that is happening here is that our public service is not performing. It is sort of infiltrated by wrong people. The recruitment of staff in those departments has nothing to do with meritocracy. It's just all nepotism and poor performance. You go to crime, is the same thing. Our police, you can see, are struggling. Some of them, the recruitment system there is also very poor. You can see how unfit most of them are, and it tells you that you are not going anywhere. The very same problem you also see in the army. In the whole of Africa here, if you look at the soldiers, whatever, and compare them with the size of the soldiers that we have in South Africa here, you can understand why they were kicked and humiliated in the Goma there, the DRC, and so on.
All right, Rakwena in Pretoria North. Thank you for your thoughts. It's 25 minutes after 9.
Elevate your flying experience with Lift Premium. Enjoy even more space, comfort, and convenience with priority boarding, extra baggage allowance, and complimentary lounge access. Visit lift.co.za today.
The South African Future Trust Summit's premium entrepreneurial showcase returns to the Sandton Convention Centre on the 5th and 6th of November, bringing together entrepreneurs with bold ideas and big ambition. Come and witness the big pitch where our 10 finalists will compete for the coveted $1 million business investment. Join masterclasses with industry experts who will share valuable knowledge on relevant topics and seize the opportunity to pitch your business ideas to leading investors. Don't miss out. Limited seats are available. Book yours now at summit.southafricanfuturetrust.org in partnership with 702.
Choose your health. Choose Clicks. With over 200 Clicks clinics nationwide, convenient and expert care is within reach. Our clinics offer wellness screenings and primary healthcare services for you and your family. We also provide mom and baby services like baby immunizations, family planning, pregnancy care, and more. Our nurses are available to give holistic healthcare advice and support. Book an appointment today at clicks.co.za or on the Clicks app. T's and C's apply. Choose your health. Choose Clicks. Feel good. Pay less.
Okay, truck 7, that has 0 warning lights. Truck 8, it's just been serviced. I guess we're running like a well-oiled machine. Where would I be without MyWay's comprehensive cover for my vans and trucks? Plus, cover for my customers' orders with goods and transit insurance. I guess we'll never know.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. MyWay is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. MyWay. Live your way.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
On 702.
27 minutes after 9 o'clock.
Good morning, Clement. Thomas Mompumala. Clement, I'll say I'm still hopeful, man. Our country still have good people. Yesterday I was listening to another radio station. They're still good people. Still, we'll come around. One day is one day. We just have to get together and then act together. Rebel to each other. So, re tlo popa one day re tlo ba sharp. Still hopeful. Sharp, Clement.
Morning, Clement. At this moment, I don't have any hope for this country. And to be honest with you, the problem is not the government anymore. It's not the politicians. It's us as South Africans. We take everything as a joke, and we will never get anywhere with that attitude. So these people have seen that we don't care about our country. So why must they care? They rather to keep the park.
Hi, Clement Mhlengwe here in Bramfisherville. Regarding, how I feel personally about South Africa at this juncture, there's nothing to be pleased about, Clement. The high levels of crime, high levels of unemployment, corruptions, potholes all over, and again, corrupt policemen. I'm telling you, Clement, I've got every reason to be despondent. This country needs a new government. People who will work tirelessly in the economic field, in the law and order field, in the ethics field, to bring this country to where it should be. There's nothing to celebrate, unfortunately, Clement. Nice show as always. Thank you, Madumecha. Bye.
Clement, I trust you well. Clement, one would like to be hopeful, but the problem is the little good that we see is being overshadowed by the bad committed by leadership. The leadership that is even unable to offer solutions to daily problems that people are faced with. That's the predicament we find ourselves in, unfortunately. Anonymous.
Yeah, look, as I said, it may seem like things are bad, but it's not all doom and gloom. I absolutely do not believe that we are a failed state. I've said this last week as well, after what Bonang Mahale said on Breakfast with Bongani. I don't think we're there. I just think there are days when you are so despondent. Like, everything is just like, when you listen to the news and you're like, oh my goodness, is this the country where I really want to raise my children? Like, I found myself asking that question today. I was like, do I want my children to be raised here? Like, what country are we handing over to the next generation? Is there even going to be a country to hand over? In fact, we should do a series on the show and look at the implementing agents of these government departments, because that's where the stealing is happening. That's where it's so brazen. That's where they will pay 20 million rand for something that doesn't exist, for a service that doesn't even exist, or service that hasn't been given. That's why, because we're not paying attention to that. We're just focusing on Transnet and Eskom or the main departments, but there are agencies within those departments that are, remember On Point Engineering? There are agencies that are implementing agents, and the comrades are eating so much there because we are focusing on the bigger departments, and we need to start zooming into each department. What implementing agencies do they have? Who's in charge? What's happening there? It's 9:32. So hi.
Thanks, Clements. Good morning. The Madlanga Commission of Inquiry into alleged police capture will no longer start next week due to procurement delays. President Cyril Ramaphosa established the Judicial Commission of Inquiry into criminality, political interference and corruption in the criminal justice system. It will investigate allegations made by KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi last month. The state in the Songezo Zibi trial is set to defend its case against one of the accused this morning in the Pretoria High Court. Mthokoziseni Mapisa brought an application for his acquittal yesterday. Mapisa says the state failed to prove his involvement in the football star's 2014 murder. And the death toll from Typhoon Kachigi has risen to 3 in Vietnam. This as rescue workers are battling uprooted trees and downed power lines and widespread flooding, which brought chaos to the streets of the capital, Hanoi. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 10 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Travelling on the M1 South, we've got some delays between Halton Drive and Empire Road heading towards Parktown, while on the M1 North towards Crown Turnoff, we still have got delays coming out of Boyson's Road. And then on the R24 West, we've got an accident reported. This is in the Edenville areas right near the N12 mergers, causing delays coming out of Edenville Road. And there's also queuing traffic in Kelvin along the N3 North between Marlborough Drive and the Baklu interchange in Midrand. Some issues on the N1 South between Samarin Avenue and Olifantsfontein Road. Please be on the lookout there and continue driving with care. We'll have more updates for you at the top of the hour.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. 702 Afternoons.
With Relebohile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
So then what is the difference between those parents that come home and continue their days and their conversations as per normal, and the parents that come home in a bad mood and, you know, the kids now want to retreat or they're scared to talk? Like, what is the difference? What are each of those individuals doing differently?
Children are biologically programmed to want to associate and align with their parents for their survival. And so when children are exposed to uncomfortable or unpleasant emotions, and it's paired with a sensation of there's going to be a threat to my survival, they can start cycling through different kinds of survival responses in order to cope with the perceived threat.
Dr. Jeannie Cavey, clinical psychologist.
702 Afternoons.
With Relebohile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
Mzansi, get ready to Panda Pusha play Powerball and Powerball Plus for 76 million rand in total estimated jackpots this Tuesday. That's right. Play Powerball for an estimated 31 million rand and Powerball Plus for an estimated 45 million rand today. Buy your tickets now in-store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120*7529# for USSD. Panda Pusha Play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
Tani Esther, or should I say the Tupperware Tani? How's business going?
Business is booming. I've been operating out of the boot of my car for 10 years, but shame, it couldn't keep up with my growing empire.
Okay, so you sold it to We Buy Cars?
Yes, quick. Sold my old one, bought a bigger one. I even sold some of my Tupperware to the friendly guy who picked up my car.
Stick to what you know best, eh, Tani?
Excuse me?
Never mind. We Buy Cars. Geared for your business, geared for you.
After a short migration, the family arrives at the premier resort, rich in food, drink, and entertainment. The young, freed from classroom captivity, head straight for Kids Club and the safety of the herd. The adult male meanders to the scuba center, while the matriarch basks by the pool.
Book your resort escape to Neisner, East London, Scottborough, or Sunny Pass at premierhotels.co.za.
Breathe in, insurance. Breathe out, pineapple. In, insurance. Breathe out, pineapple. Again. In, insurance. Out, pineapple. Again and again.
Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
On 702.
It's 23 minutes before 10 o'clock. I'm going to speak in a moment to the Higher Education Committee Chair who's in studio with us. But let me just play a couple of voice notes first and then we'll start our conversation.
Morning, Clement. I also feel quite despondent most of the time in South Africa. But, just looking at some of the opposition party ministers who are now in government, Mr. Groenewald, McPherson, Shriver, and even Gayton McKenzie. They seem to give me a bit of hope that, we can turn things around. Thanks.
Clemmy, goeiemorgen man. Floris here from the Western Cape. Clemmy, yeah, I would like to remain or stay patriotic and try to be positive about South Africa. Yeah, but sometimes it's extremely difficult, man. You need to plan for your future, your legacy. I work for an organization where we have friends and organizations who help us both in Switzerland and in the US. And on numerous occasions, just last week also, I get invites to come and stay there for a few years and work there. But yeah, I'm going to miss South Africa, man. And I'm really thinking whether I should leave and just leave South Africa behind or remain here and try and fight for what's ours. Have a good show. Bye-bye.
Good morning, Clement and the 702 family. Clement, unfortunately, it's all doom and gloom in South Africa. So whatever little that is there, maybe we may say, maybe gives us hope. Unfortunately, it's a matter of time. It too will be taken away from us. So nothing lasts. You can't celebrate anything because tomorrow you'll wake up, that thing won't be there. Look at the police force. There was a time when we believed that the police were doing their job and then they were fighting crime until General Mkhwanazi made those statements. Unfortunately, it's terrible. Kenny speaking.
Clement, what hope when the current sitting president, millions were found in his couch and yet nothing has been done to him. He was cleared by the NPA, so what hope should we have as ordinary citizens? It's bad, it's bad, Clement, it's bad. Millions and millions of illegal immigrants are in the country. The leadership is saying nothing. So, it shows where the country is going.
They don't even know how many illegal immigrants are in this country. They have no way of telling. Ntsapokazio on the YouTube line says, Clement and the 702 family, we are in a sad state of affairs, but I remain one of the hopeful citizens. We cannot allow ourselves to give up. We have the power to change. Kolela on YouTube also says, Clemmy, the only thing good about Mzansi is the love we have for our country, and believe me, we will not let it burn to the ground. When the need arises, I trust South Africans to unite and save the flag. And I think you're right. As I said, I'm not convinced that it's all doom and gloom. I think when you compare us to other countries, we have it better. But I worry that sometimes we get to a point where we are so desensitized. So there are certain bad things that happen and we just move on. Like, I've just given you a few examples, and I could spend the whole hour telling you about government entities or the corruption that has been revealed in just the last 3 months. I've just given you one example or two or three. I'm saying when I listen to the news and how we are just moving on and everything is normal, I'm like, what society are we building where there's just such brazen corruption, where there's such lack of accountability, where there doesn't seem to be passionate interest from those in law enforcement to go after these guys at the top? And I worry about that. I really do. It's 19 minutes before 10.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Here's something else I'm worried about, and I'm glad we've got Tebogo Letsie, who's the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Higher Education, in studio with us. The decision that the Higher Education Minister has taken, and I'm worried about it on two fronts, which I want to address with the chair of the Portfolio Committee on Higher Education. Tebogo, thank you for coming to studio. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement, to yourself. Good morning to the listeners, and thanks for having us.
So the first issue, I spoke to two CEOs of the SETAs that the Minister of Higher Education has placed under administration, and one of the things they are concerned about is that he didn't follow the right process. They explained, Mr. Shezi explained, one of the CEOs, what process normally needs to be followed before you place a SETA under administration. As the Committee on Higher Education, How do you assess that? Were you told about this decision, and was the law and the process followed?
No, thank you very much. Clement, the minister wrote to me on the 19th of August 2025 in the morning, indicating that he has decided to put the 3 SETAs under administration. And the reasons, and I want to quote what he wrote to me so that we're not quoted out of context. So he says, the intervention follows serious and entrenched governance and administrative failures in these entities, including procurement irregularities, lapse in oversight and instability in their governance structures, which pose the risk to their ability to fulfill their statutory mandate. Then he goes further to indicate who he has appointed as administrators and the mandate of those administrators. On the same day, I wrote to him indicating that we've taken note of his decision, but can he please clarify? And in my letter, I'm asking him to give us a sense of the process that he has followed so that when you guys, on behalf of South Africans, ask us questions, we're able to respond to you guys factually and without thinking what the minister was thinking, because that would have meant now we were venturing on becoming prophets. So I wrote to him on the same day and I said, please clarify which process do you follow, and all this governance collapse and all of that relates to which SETA. So write to us, indicate construction SETA, these are the reasons, LG SETA, these are the reasons, services SETA, these are the reasons. On Saturday, the 23rd, in the evening, I then saw an email which was dated the 22nd, which was a day before. In the letter, literally, the minister said to us he has subjected this process to a public service commission, and he's willing to come and explain. I wrote to him yesterday again, indicating that subjecting this thing to the Public Service Commission is all well and good. But the constitution of this country, Section 55, mandates him to account to us as the portfolio committee. Section 92, subsection 2 of the constitution instructs him as a member of cabinet to subject himself to public scrutiny through the portfolio committee. So I then wrote to him and I said, please respond. I hear you have subjected the vetting part and all of that to the Public Service Commission, but you are still required to respond to the portfolio committee. Here are the questions that I still want you to respond. He has not. I've given him till tomorrow to respond to those particular questions. So we don't know what was the process he followed. That's why we've asked. We don't know whether he has vetted these people or he knew about.
I'll get to the people in a moment. I mean, also, do you remember the last time you were here?
Yes.
You and I had a conversation, and then what happened like a few hours later? Do you remember what happened?
No, when I was here, later on when I landed actually in Cape Town, I realized when I opened my phone, I realized that the president had decided to
fire the higher education minister.
Yes, and
part of that reason is because she just didn't want to present herself to be accountable to Parliament, and she couldn't even explain some of the decisions that she had taken, and it appears like the minister is struggling to explain. So let's start first. What the National Skills Development Act is very clear about what you have to do before you place any SETA under administration. You have to write to the SETA that is concerned. You have to raise concerns. After the response, you issue instructions on what to do. If you fail, if maybe they fail, then Section 15 kicks in. You can place that SETA under administration. If there's any financial mismanagement or they fail to discharge their responsibility, if the boards are not representative of constituent sectors. But the SETAs that are placed under administration, well, at least the ones I spoke to yesterday, they're saying the minister hasn't even written to them. Like, there's no email or meeting that happened where the minister raised any sort of concern about these specific SETAs. So already the minister has not followed the process.
Yeah, they've written to me as well. They've indicated that their intention to challenge this process or the decision of the minister through other means, because that process did not happen. That is why I've written to the minister to explain.
Yeah.
So that at least we're on the same page. I also heard that you, when I was coming here, you said that the DG
was asked by the SETA CEOs that
and
what
they
are
said
the
they don't
reasons, and he doesn't know. He said, well, it's the minister's decision.
Yeah, that is very strange, because if you look at section 15, subsection 1, it says that after consulting with the NSA, the Director General or the Minister may direct the Director General to appoint this administrator. So if he doesn't know, then it gives us a little bit of a problem. But you'll remember even in the previous time, the DG would have said he's not aware of all of these things. And at the later stage, it came out that, the DG, people in the DG's office knew, but he says he did not know.
He didn't know about it.
So this really does not smell good.
I'm looking forward to when the minister will respond to your email. You said you've given him until what, tomorrow? Tomorrow. Yes. Let's see how he explains this process. And I hope he's not going to say to you that, oh, the matter is now under the Public Service Commission. That's a separate process. He's still accountable to Parliament. He must explain why he took this decision without following as required by the Skills Development Act. Number 2, he has appointed these administrators to these SETAs. Now there are questions that have been raised by the EFF and the DA. These people have questionable backgrounds. Now the minister says to the Public Service Commission, oh, please can you come and do background checks and vetting on these people? Is that what's supposed to happen? Ministers just appoint administrators without doing background checks, and then they do background checks after the fact when people have already started their work?
No. So we have departments for a reason. The Department of Higher Education and Training should have probably shortlisted a number of people and said, Minister, these are the people that we believe if we put this particular SETA, let's say construction SETA, under administration, these are the 4 people who must look at, and these are their CVs, and this is the work that we have done on them. So the Department of Higher Education and Training should have done that particular thing. So when we meet with the minister, I think we will try and uncover what was the process there, because we have departments for a reason. We have a Director General, we have DDGs, or Deputy Director Generals, we have Assistant Director Generals for a reason. These people have got jobs to do. And if they did not do their jobs in this particular instance, then we're going to have a problem, because we can't. The South Africans can't continue to pay people salaries, and they are not doing their jobs in the offices. So there is a process that was supposed to have happened. We will find out from in our engagement with the ministry what was that process, and if it was processed properly. And if not, what will be the consequence for management? Because it can't be business as usual. This is not the first time this thing is happening. It's as if now higher education and training is just about SETAs and being on media for wrong reasons.
And putting up comrades in positions. It's going to begin to look like that now. Such a critical institution like higher education.
Yeah, but we don't have comrades. I think this one I must clarify. I've never come across, I've been in the ANC for a long time, I've never come across the name of Upangwana as a comrade somewhere. I've never come across the name of Zugile Mvalo as a comrade somewhere. I've only come across a long time ago Letlogono Masuka as a provincial secretary of the Youth League. Long
he was also
time ago.
MEC in Limpopo.
Yes, but
Isn't
he was
that a
still in the
comrade?
Youth League. He was
an ANC person.
Yes.
That's what I mean by comrade.
Yeah, but you are talking about 1 person in 3, and the generalization is not looking good. But also,
what about Nkwana? He was
what?
Was Nkwana not in the ANC?
I don't know. I've never seen him in the ANC.
So how could you say conclusively that that's not a comrade?
No, I've listened to the accusations or the people even who are making these accusations, the DA, for an example, they look at every name here and then they just throw it and say comrades. They've never proven that this person.
Now I'm saying Masoga is the ANC. Do we agree on that?
Masoga used to be the secretary of provincial secretary of the Youth League.
Yes. So he was with Abu Buti Manamela, was he not?
No, I think he was the provincial secretary when Julius was president. So are we saying
that they were comrades in the ANC?
Julius was the president of the Youth League, his ANC today is not. So you don't know whether people have moved and all of that. So we can't make those.
But the last information we have of this man was he was in the ANC. In fact, he was MEC under an ANC administration.
Yes.
Nkwana was the former manager at the Mfuleni local municipality.
Yeah.
He was in the ANC.
No,
I don't know. Well, that's the information I've gotten from people who are in that part of the metro. So I don't know of him as a DA or EFF. I don't know that unless it's changed. Maybe he can share that with us. I've tried to bring him on the show. He doesn't want to come. So when you get information, maybe that contradicts that, let me know. If he's joined the EFF, please, I'd love to know, or maybe the MK party. My understanding is he's still in the ANC.
Yeah, well, I don't know whether he was ever in the ANC. He was a municipal manager in the Mfuleni, but I don't know him as a member of the ANC. I must confess.
Yeah. Okay. Tebogo Letsie, thank you so much for speaking to us. We'll keep a close eye on this story. We'll find out if the minister does respond tomorrow, explaining the process, and also on the 12th of September.
Yeah, we have applied for the 12th of September, and we're hoping that the chair of chairs will give us that day, and then we will continue to give feedback to the people of South Africa where we account.
Okay.
So as soon as we get that approval, we will communicate.
Thanks for making time for us.
Thank you very much.
702 delivers
on the matters that matter to you.
This is Leanne from Pretoria. 702 is my companion on my drive to work and home from work every day. They keep me up to date with loads of important information on the news of the world, but also lots of other interesting facts. And I always arrive at work and saying, guess what I heard on the radio today? So I think my staff know me as, guess what I heard on the radio today, whenever I arrive at work, thanks to 702.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts,
so we can deliver more on what matters to you.
702 listens.
Let's walk the talk.
Andile here with more than just a betting app ad. Download the 10Bet app and enjoy the action of betting anytime, anywhere. It's more than just an app. It's a 10Bet experience. Join now at 10bet.co.za. 10Bet is a licensed betting operator and supports responsible gambling. No person under the age of 18 shall be permitted to bet. Betting can be addictive. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line is 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
This September, Joburg Theatre brings you a powerful mix of drama, music, and dance. Dancing the Death Drill, adapted from Fred Khumalo's acclaimed novel, tells the tale of Pito Mutaung, a South African soldier forever changed by the tragic sinking of the SS Mendi. The cast features Kwenzo Ngobo, Tuli Tabete, and Clint Brink, with choreography by Luyanda Sidia and original music by Msaki. This is a story of love, loss, and remembrance. Catch it from 9 to 28 September 2025 on the Mandela stage at Joburg Theatre. Dancing the Death Drill, a moment in history brought to life. Book now at joburgtheatre.com.
Hi, I'm Dion Free. Winning requires audacity. That's why I joined African Bank and opened a 60-month fixed-term investment account. I'm scoring 12.8% interest at expiry on my investment. How cool is that? You too can join the bank that backs you to grow your money. Pop into a branch near you or visit africanbank.co.za. African Bank, audacity to believe. African Bank is a licensed financial services and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Your voice,
your station,
your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
7 minutes before 10 o'clock. Let's go back to your WhatsApps.
Hi Clement, great show as always. My name is Ntalo, all the way from the UK, Scotland. So the only thing I miss about SA is just the weather. Other than that, man, the country's really going down the drain. So yeah, man, we're doomed.
Clement and the team. For me, I'm always hopeful a little bit. But then over the weekend, when I saw all those newspapers and I saw all the money that's been stolen, and then every single time you hear the police don't have money, the army don't have money, they don't have money, like, and the service delivery is dwindling, like, and then you see all the, like, this weekend was horrible when it comes to, like, the state, like, people stealing money from the state. Like, it was, the prisoner one was like, oh my goodness, like, it was like something else. For me, I hope, but sometimes it's like, you get so defeated, you get so demoralized that you're like, where is this country going? Because it seems like we have no leader. That's how we, yeah.
Hi, Clem, Tabo here. It looks like all of these guys are doing things willy-nilly. They just don't consider anything before they do anything. Who are advising them? Who are there to advise them before they take this kind of decisions? It's appalling, really. It's appalling.
It is.
After so many years in government, these guys can't even follow a simple procedure of doing things. It's unbelievable. Yes, like we are really still in trouble. I'm definitely sure. It's high time this ANC gets archived, Clement. Seriously so.
Yeah, it is frustrating. It really is frustrating. I can't wait to hear what the minister's explanations are, because he just got it wrong in my view on two fronts. One, he just didn't follow the process he should have followed here, based on what the SETA CEOs are saying. Right? Two, he has appointed people without doing vettings on them. And then wants the Public Service Commission to come in and do the work that the department should have done. That's crazy, man.
At the heart of global conversations shaping our future, Africa's voice is more important than ever. As proud lead sponsor of the B20, the Standard Bank Group is honored to showcase the continent's growth, partnerships, and potential on the world stage. Because driving Africa's growth isn't just our ambition, it's our purpose. Tune in every Monday from 3 p.m. for the Standard Bank B20 In Brief for key insights and updates around the B20. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
Joburg gets ready to paint the town purple. The Hollywood Bets 10-kilometer race is back. Bigger, bolder, and bursting with energy. Whether you're running for fun or just love the vibe, this is your race. Join thousands as we take over the streets in true purple style. Tickets are available now on web tickets, so make sure you grab your spots at the starting line. And listen up, KZN is 100% sold out. Joburg, it's your turn to shine. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0170.
Psst. Hey, no longer feeling like the man you used to be? The man who's the life of the party even when he doesn't attend. The fact is, 95% of men with low testosterone go untreated. Vitalamin high-performance supplements for men helps recharge energy, regain lean muscle, and reload performance. Available at all good pharmacies and vitalamin.co.za. Vitalamin. Don't get older. Get better.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. The Madlanga Commission of Inquiry into alleged police capture will no longer start next week due to procurement delays. President Cyril Ramaphosa established the Judicial Commission of Inquiry into criminality, political interference and corruption in the criminal justice system. It will investigate allegations made by KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi last month. In a statement this morning, the Commission says it will not commence on the 1st of September, as previously communicated. Oren Singh reports.
The Madlanga Commission of Inquiry won't commence next week due to delays in the procurement of vital infrastructure. In a statement this morning, the Commission placed the blame squarely on the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development for the delays, claiming they had failed to meet the procurement deadlines. The Justice Department is responsible for all procurement and costs related to the Commission. A budget of 147.9 million rand has been allocated for the establishment of the Commission, which is expected to run over the course of the next 6 months and possibly even longer. While a new date for the commencement of the Madlanga Commission hasn't been communicated, the public hearings will be held at the Bridget Mabandla Justice College in Pretoria. Arun Singh, Eyewitness News.
The attempted murder case against alleged crime boss Vusumuzi Manyathela has been postponed to next week. Manyathela will spend another week behind bars after his bail bid was pushed back in the Alexandra Magistrates Court this morning. The businessman is accused of orchestrating a 2023 hit on his ex-girlfriend, socialite Tebogo Letsie, and faces charges including attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder and money laundering. Mongezi Koko reports.
Today's sitting was brief, with the court postponing Manyathela's formal bail application to next week Tuesday. The 4 other accused, including Manyathela's wife, will return on the 7th of October when 2 related cases are expected to be centralized. Of the group, only his wife and daughter of another accused are out on bail. The rest remain in custody. Magistrate Data Prinsloo.
The matter is postponed until the 2nd of September. Back to this court for formal bail application. He will then remain in custody, no bail.
The court says the postponements will give them time for evidence disclosure and for multiple cases to be streamlined into one. Mongezi Koko, Eyewitness News at the Alexandra Magistrates Court.
In the capital, the state in the Songezo Zibi trial is set to defend its case against one of the accused this morning. Mthokoziseni Mapisa brought an application for his acquittal yesterday. Mapisa says the state failed to prove his involvement in the football star's 2014 murder. Mayua was shot at the home of his girlfriend Singer Kelly Kumalo in what the state believes was a hit. Khomozo Modise has more.
Mthokoziseni Mapisa has argued that not only is there no proof of his involvement in the plan to kill Bafana captain Senzo Meyiwa, but the state's main witness, Constable Sizwe Zungu, has no proof that there was such a plan at all. His lawyer, Advocate Zitulele Nxumalo.
I submit that there is no witness or witnesses that place accused number 4 at or near the scene of crime. The witnesses who testified viva voce before this court did not implicate accused number 4 as one of the intruders.
Today, the state will rebut the arguments by Nxumalo, defending its case against Mapisa. If Mapisa has his way, he'll be acquitted of Meyiwa's murder, but he'll remain behind bars and continue serving a life sentence for a separate murder. Khomozo Modise, Eyewitness News at the Pretoria High Court.
And the death toll from Typhoon Kachigi has risen to 3 in Vietnam. This is as rescue workers are battling uprooted trees and downed power lines and widespread flooding, which has brought chaos to the streets of the capital, Hanoi. The typhoon hit central Vietnam yesterday, tearing roofs off thousands of homes and knocking out power lines to more than 1.6 million people. Authorities say 3 people have been killed and 13 injured, and they've warned of possible flash floods and landslides in 8 provinces as torrential rains continue to wreak havoc. Gold is trading at $3,376.17 an ounce. The rand is at 17.59 to the dollar, 23.69 to the pound, 20.48 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $68.50 a barrel.
And there's queuing traffic in on the Golden Highway. This is just as you head towards Southgate Mall due to a major accident seen there. It's causing delays as you approach Colander Road. Also, do remember, if you're traveling along this route, that we've got those long-term roadworks taking place, and that's the reason for those long queues while traveling. Along the Mark 1 North, bumper-to-bumper traffic between Boysons Road and the Crown Interchange, and that's due to that bus that was stuck along this route earlier this morning.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 28 and 29 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry into alleged police capture will no longer start next week due to procurement delays.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Show up for the finalist who showed up for you. Gauteng's greatest awards with 702 and Yoko. Vote for your favorite local business now on primediaplus.com.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
8 minutes after 10 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the second hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us here on 702. And I'm picking up energy now because I was so morosed and sad in the first hour as we were talking about the state of this country. Hey? It's just so despondent. And it's one of those days when, I was just reading the news and I was just like listening to interviews. And I was like, oh my goodness. What country are we going to be handing over to the next generation? And I just think that, honestly, we are also enablers at some point because we allow it. And that's why sometimes I talk about these cult personalities and following. Because some of us, we love certain people so much that we can't even dare criticize them when they do wrong. And that's part of enabling the state of affairs. Because you choose what you criticize. Because you love this person, then no, don't touch that person. As if criticizing means you hate someone. Doesn't mean that. In fact, it means you love them. For me, that's one of the signs of expressing my love for people is when you do wrong, I can call it out. I don't cancel you. I don't write you off, but I'm able to say, I appreciate what you've done, but I think here you have gone wrong. And I just think in this country, we're not getting there yet. We're still so obsessed with people that we love that we're not able to call them out. And I hope we can get past that. Thank you so much for all your calls and your WhatsApps on the 702 open line. It's time now to start our conversation with Songezo Zibi, the leader of Rise Mzansi.
You're with Clement Manyathela
702.
And remember, you can watch this conversation on YouTube as well. Just go to the 702 YouTube page if you want to watch and listen to the show at the same time. If you've got questions and you don't want to call us or send a WhatsApp voice note, you're welcome to post them there on the YouTube page. I will make sure that I extract them from there and I'll read them. And if it's questions, pose them to my guest this morning. Mr. Zibi, thank you so much for coming through. It's great to see you in Joburg, actually.
Yeah. Good morning, Clement, and thanks very much for having me. And it's warmer here, by the way.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah. No, I was in Cape Town just over the weekend as well, and the weather was atrocious.
Oh man,
it's nice here.
Well, welcome to the beautiful weather here in Joburg. So I started the show this morning, and I was just talking about the state of affairs in this country, and I was asking the listeners how hopeful they are. But I don't really think, obviously, that it's all doom and gloom. I don't agree with other people that believe we're a failed state. And I do think there are some great things about this country, which is why I also asked them, what do you love about the country? But the sense I'm getting from the calls I've taken is that a lot of people are despondent. Yes, they are hopeful, but they're so despondent with everything that's happening. How do you assess it? What's your reflection about where the country is right now? Are you hopeful?
So I am battling to keep the hope alive. Let me put it like that. I'm battling to keep the hope alive. The situation is not lost by any stretch of the imagination, and we're certainly not a failed state. But South Africa's democratic state is also failing its people. Now, the reason I put it like that is that it's also important for South Africans to recognize that the state is nothing without them. The state that we have is the one chosen by South Africans. And it can be different. And so the reason I'm saying I'm battling to keep the hope alive is that I know that we have to keep the hope alive through our own choices, through our own actions and so on. I think there's been a failure of political leadership, a profound failure of political leadership, but I also believe South Africa has enough talent. The only thing that's missing is the belief and the conviction to step up and step forward to change things. We've got enough people with the capability to do that. I don't think enough of us encourage other people to do the same and support them. And that's what will make us fail if we don't do that.
But there are other people that really are interested in wanting to also be part of the solution. But when they look at the state of affairs, they think, oh, but am I going to be frustrated when I join government, for instance? Am I going to be put under pressure to take decisions that may be illegal and unethical? So am I going to be able to be safe if I pick up that something is wrong and a payment is going for something, a service that's not been rendered, and then I'm a whistleblower and people are going to kill me? There's a lot of concerns. So in other words, I suppose I'm asking, yes, you're right, the talent is there, but is the environment conducive for the talent to come in?
So let me put it to you this way. What I'm talking about is the board of the Republic of South Africa. The board of directors of the Republic of South Africa is Parliament. It is from that 400 that we have to choose those who will occupy executive positions, including the president. The profound failure of South Africa's politics is not the people that can't go into the public service because of the toxicity and the problems there. It is our choice of people for the board of directors. That's what we need to fix, which means what I'm asking South Africans to do is to become extremely political in their activism. There are too many people who see politics as an us and them. There's a special class of people who are politicians, and we're sitting on this side, and they're supposed to perform a service for us. That is not how this works. How this works is South Africans need to decide, I want a different quality board in parliament, in legislatures, and in council. Right now, I am sorry to say, South Africa does not select its best to govern it. We've got to be frank about this. You can't ask a donkey to run the Durban July. It will not win. And that's what South Africans continually do. And it's a painful conversation because I'm not denigrating anyone. I am just saying, given the complexities of government, people who are willing to step forward often are not the most capable. And they make bad decisions every day. And they make the news.
So how do you then encourage people who don't want to attach necessarily to political parties but want to be the board of directors in parliament? Because our political system requires that you belong to a political party for you to be in parliament. In fact, many of them, you are there on a ticket, quote unquote, of your party. And some people are so despondent and tired of the political parties and they feel failed by them that they wonder, but then how do I then become the board of director? You still need to choose a political party.
This is the responsibility South Africans must accept. There is no other way. You know, Donald Trump is president of the US because too many people said they're fed up with parliament. And he's going to destroy that country 6 months in. It feels like it's been 2 years already. That is the cost of not wanting to become political. It extends all the way beyond your borders to South Africa, where there are tariffs and all of these things that are going to cost jobs because millions of people didn't want to get political. That we are in a crisis. Everybody needs to pick a team. Everybody needs to pick a team right now. Not doing so is negligent and irresponsible and unpatriotic, Clement. And I'm saying this with all the love in my heart. I never imagined I'd be a politician in my life, Clement, but it's a form of stepping forward. Now, some people might not like it. They don't like my background. It's fine. The point is, there's tweeting, there's fighting the fight in parliament. That's where you win the battles.
Speaking of battles, there are conversations that are taking place between your organization and other parties.
Yes.
To form some kind of a, and I don't know if it's going to look like a multi-party charter whose moon failed to land, or this is going to take a different shape. What conversations are you having? Reports suggest it's you, it's the Good Party, it's Bossa as well. I think Action SA apparently was involved. They walked out. What are you trying to create as these political parties ahead of the 2026 local government elections?
Come on, let me quickly talk about the rationale. I've just spoken about the capacity in South Africa. There is no single political party in South Africa that has got enough talent to turn local government around. Not one, right? There just isn't. And that becomes even more apparent when you look at newer political parties and smaller political parties. If everybody tries to field their own candidate, let's say in the 2026 local government elections, you're going to do two things. You're going to split your vote, firstly. Secondly, you're going to end up with poor quality candidates. So if you want to leverage the talent that the other political parties have, you have to say, let us go out together and acquire as many people as possible, the best people we can find to run as proportional councillors or as ward councillors and so on. So that's really important to do that. The conversations have been going on for quite some time, actually, and they involve more than the 4 political parties that are mentioned in that article. The reason we've stayed away from mentioning the names of political parties, and I will try and do my best to do so and only talk about my political party, is because parties also have governance structures. They need to consult, right? And sometimes negotiations hit a snag and you don't talk for a week and then you come together again and so on. And so it is a challenging process, but the idea is to combine as many political parties as possible that are constitutionalist in outlook, firstly. So we value the principles of our constitution, the values of our constitution. Secondly, we are either centrist or social democratic in outlook, basically. So that is the second thing. The third thing is that we are willing to go beyond our own political parties for leadership and activist talent. In other words, don't confine your political campaign on just your own party members. There are people fighting political battles elsewhere who are not political parties. It's time for South Africans to collaborate. It will not be a moonshot. If we succeed, there will be one organization on the ballot from 2026 and then in 2029.
Oh, including 2029.
Yeah, look, if you're going to do it for the local government elections, why wouldn't you try and do it for 2029? I mean, because you would have formed an organization and contributed all your candidates, and you can't unscramble that egg. And it is under the banner of that scrambled egg that you would then contest the 2029 election. You can't come together and then split again and that kind of thing, which partly makes it complicated, of course, in the negotiation.
What form then is this? Should I call it an organization? So when you've merged, then is there one organization now? So it's going to be a different name.
So Clement, let me explain. I mean, it's a technical thing, but it's fairly simple. So the political parties cannot combine into one legally until after the 2029 elections. So in the event that the discussions become successful, right, you can't combine into one political organization because that new political organization wouldn't have been elected in 2024. It was not on the ballot. It doesn't have seats in parliament. So the parties have to retain their identities by law until 2029. And because parties get money from the IEC and parliament for constituency work, there is an audit that takes about 6 months after. So you can't wind them up until that process is done. So I hope that's clear. But our system allows dual membership, which means you can form a political organization, register it with the IEC, and members of Party A are members of both. And then you make a decision that you are going to contribute your candidates to the one entity.
Okay.
So that's how, which is the moonshot, they got together, but they were competing, which defeated the purpose, and they cannibalized each other, and the DA wiped out the Freedom Front Plus.
So you wouldn't, so you would run under this entity and you're not running independently outside.
That would be the ideal. That's as far as Rise Mzansi is concerned, that is the only thing that makes sense. Because if you compete against one another, combined you might get over 50%, but the candidate from another party got 45. And therefore it's first past the post and they have the councillor and you don't.
Yeah.
Right. So we have to be tactical about it. And there's very good reason why it would need to happen that way.
There's some people that have suggested that particularly the smaller, the newer parties are giving up. They're realizing that they're not going to be able to amass quite a substantial amount of votes. Do you think, what is the reason really you have decided as Rise Mzansi that this is what's necessary now as we head to the 2026 elections?
So look, Clement, from the beginning, by the way, we thought that some kind of consolidation would need to happen. It's not giving up. Clement, there is no time. South Africa only has a year to 2 years to get itself right, or its crickets. So if political parties say, we don't care if it takes us 20 years because we want to be big enough to run the government on our own, we believe that's counterproductive. Right-thinking South Africans of all stripes who share the same beliefs need to come together. Get over people's egos. There would be questions of who becomes chairperson of this, who becomes, whatever. The point is, as complicated as those questions are, it's important that in order to drive the change as fast as possible, you need South Africans to cooperate. And political parties can't tell South Africans to cooperate when they don't.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me anyway.
011-883-0702, the number to dial. If you have got any input to make, you've got maybe a question for Songezo Zibi, who is the leader of Rise Mzansi, you can send us a WhatsApp as well on 072-702-1702, 24 after 10.
Unlock exciting bonus prizes when you top up your Betway account with a Betway Bucks voucher. From millions in cash and bonuses to extra bets and so much more, every top up is a chance to score big. Head over to leading retailers including Pick n Pay, Checkers, Pep Stores, and Incredible Connection and top up with Betway today. Terms and conditions apply. Betway is licensed and regulated by the Western Cape Gambling and Racing Board. No persons under the age of 18 are permitted to gamble. South African Responsible Gambling Program toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Winners know when to stop.
Corporates That Care promotes and encourages corporate leaders and all citizens to walk the talk for a better South Africa. Catch Corporates That Care this Wednesday at 10 to 9 featuring Akwele. Their marketing manager Sharon Combrink will be in conversation with Bongani Bingwa. Join us every Wednesday as we highlight the efforts of companies and brands dedicated to building our country. Corporates That Care is a Prime Media Cares initiative with 702 and Prime Media Outdoor. 702, let's walk the talk and make a difference together.
You could do something first and still be doing it wrong. What hurts is sprinting but never making it to the finish line. Quit going in the wrong direction because with Sunny Sixt, you can rent here and globally. Other car rental companies only have a vision to try harder. We actually deliver. While they leave you feeling blue, our budget and vibe match yours. For a tailored service offering premium at every stage, book premium car rental excellence with Sunny Sixt.
They opened their doors before sunrise, stayed up late, showed up, Now they've made it to the finals of Gauteng's greatest awards with 702 and Yoko because of you. But they're not done yet. Your vote that could make them Gauteng's greatest. Go to primemediaplus.com now to cast it. Because support isn't just spoken, it's action. And your vote is a standing ovation for the Corner Cafe with the big dreams, the local legend who never gave up, the startup that's changing the game. Gauteng's greatest award with 702, powered by Yoko. Let Yoko Counter fuel your business to greatness. Go to yoko.com to explore the new point of sale solution, saving hundreds of businesses time and money.
702.
The Clement Manyathela Show.
Let's walk the talk.
It's 27 minutes after 10 o'clock. We're speaking to the leader of Rise Mzansi, Songezo Zibi. Someone says, oh, Clement, how do I join Rise? I love the way this leader thinks. That's a message from Timbers there. I've got a question here, Songezo, from someone who wants to know about, I spoke on the open line about these implementing agents of government departments, and I think that's where actually the money is being stolen.
Yeah.
And we're not paying a lot of attention to. And Tsepo is asking, please can you ask Songezo there what he thinks can be done to scrutinize these agents more? Because, oh my goodness, it's and the sad thing is we don't pay a lot of attention to them because they're like these small little implementing agents, but there are millions and sometimes billions that are running there.
So Clement, firstly, we have too many.
Yeah.
So if I had dictatorial powers or I was the president, one of the things would be to reduce the number by more than half. Let's take the city of Johannesburg. We're in the city of Johannesburg. And other cities globally don't have companies for everything the city needs to do. There's an executive director responsible for water and sanitation. What does Johannesburg have? It's got Joburg Water with a board, chief executive, all the layers of overheads and money spent on all manner of things and buildings, etc., etc. Joburg Water, Joburg Roads, I can go on. Pick it up, etc. Looking at the bureaucracy alone, you've got hundreds, if not thousands of people just to make these artificial organizations run. You look at other cities. The city of Cape Town doesn't have a company for everything, right? The city of eThekwini doesn't have a company for everything. If you can fix the political problem, appoint the right people, get the best to be executive director for engineering services or whatever, give them a crack team and the mandate, run the procurement and other services properly, you're fine. But in Johannesburg, unnecessary complexity. We do this at all levels of government. And these implementing agents only implement corruption and they implement inefficiency, they implement egos. And it's time we got rid of as many of these as possible so that government can do its work. So that's my view. The second thing is that, remember we spoke about the board. Those are the people who are supposed to do oversight. Clement, a lot of people can't read financial statements even.
Well, we're busy
who are
appointing
in those
them to
positions.
be mayors.
Yeah, this is the thing, right? You'll find an MMC for finance who can't read financial statements at all. This is no disrespect, but the point is if you're supposed to conduct oversight over financial affairs, do financial planning and financial sustainability, and oversee a chartered accountant and so on, even if you're not a chartered accountant yourself, you've got to be able to read a balance sheet and an income statement and a cash flow statement and this kind of thing. So, Clement, I'm sorry, we have too many to oversee. Scopa, the committee that I chair, oversees over 500 entities. It's an impossible job. Why should we have over 500? We don't need them.
Why do they exist?
Because I think that, I heard this from an ANC person that, the movement decided agentsification. Agentsification, it's a slang word, right? Would achieve the purpose. Because I think that the theory was, if you put some distance between the politicians and the work that's got to be done, in theory,
it has not worked.
But you know what? You put an ex-con as head of an infrastructure function politically. Believe me, The rest of the professional institutions they oversee are going to be a mess because they can appoint the board. And the people they appoint to the board are people who are going to serve their purpose and so on. So, Clement, let's get rid of half of all of them. Then the monitoring gets easier. That's my view.
All right, it's 10:32. I see your calls and your WhatsApps. I'll start with them after the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Fiso, hi.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Higher Education has written to Minister Buti Manamela to explain his reasons behind placing 3 SETAs under administration. Manamela recently appointed administrators for the sector education and training authorities on construction, services and local government. He cited governance failures, procurement irregularities and lapses in oversight as part of his reasons. The attempted murder case against alleged crime boss Vusmuzi Matlala has been postponed to next week. Matlala will spend another week behind bars after his bail bid was pushed back in the Alexandra Magistrates Court this morning. The businessman is accused of orchestrating a 2023 hit on his ex-girlfriend, socialite Tebogo Letsie, and faces charges including attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and money laundering. And India's Supreme Court has ordered an investigation into a wild rescue park run by the son of Asia's richest person, Mukesh Ambani. Anat Ambani is alleged to have been involved in illegal imports and financial misconduct at the vast private zoo. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
We've got delays on the M1 North. This is between Boyson's Road and the Crown Interchange while travelling towards Southgate Mall. We've got delays along the Golden Highway. This is just as you approach Colander Road due to an earlier accident as well as roadworks taking place along this route. Please be on the lookout there. Travelling in Bedford View, some issues reported on the N3 North right near the Gululis interchange. Please be on the lookout there. And then in Midrand, some delays on the N1 South towards Olifantsfontein Road. Speaking of Midrand, we've got faulty traffic lights reported right at the N1 and New Road. They're also out of order in Alexandra at Far East Bank and Marlborough Drive, as well as in Fourways at Cedar Road and Uranium Street. If you do see anything else on the roads, we are on X at EWN Traffic. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
What are your concerns around the anti-gang unit?
The specialized unit in South Africa that does the most dangerous work. They also ran a report on some similar shortages in other specialized units elsewhere in the country. But really, it's hard to think of a unit doing more dangerous work than the anti-gang unit in Cape Town. And there they are, going into a gunfight without any weapons. That is outrageous. And so that's what prompted it.
Mayor of Cape Town, Jordan Hill-Lewis.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
Outsurance has simply had their best results. Outsurance scored 9.99 on the Hello Peter Trust Index, a near 5-star rating on Google reviews, and have outperformed their personal best on the number of complaints per 1,000 claims referred to the Ombudsman. Switch to the insurer that keeps raising the bar on low prices, service and trust. Call 08600 60,000 or visit outsurance.co.za today. You always get something out. Licensed insurer and FSP. T's and C's and information online.
Meet the new Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7, re-engineered to be our thinnest and lightest foldable yet. Move with confidence, powered by an ultra-sleek, ultra-slim design that adapts wherever life takes you. Open your world to expansive screens, seamlessly crafted for work and play. It's innovation that fits your pocket. Upgrade to the new Galaxy Z Fold 7 and get double the storage on us. Hurry, offer ends 31 August. T's and C's apply.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We're also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comment, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we're not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission, PO Box 412365, Craig Hall 2024. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
The 12th edition of the DSTV Delicious International Food and Music Festival, powered by Lotto Star, is here. Experience unbeatable vibes this heritage weekend at the Kailami Grand Prix circuit on the 20th and 21st of September. On Saturday, the 20th, catch Don Toliver, Questa, Inkabi, Zezwe, and more. Then on Sunday, the 21st, don't miss the iconic Lauryn Hill on her 25th anniversary tour with special guests Wycliffe Jean, YG Mali, and Zion Mali with Lira, Mandisi Janchi. Zoe Mudiha also will be performing on Sunday. Tickets at Ticketmaster. The DSTV Delicious International Food and Music Festival, powered by Lotto Star and proudly supported by 702.
You're with Clement Manyathela.
702. Let's walk the talk.
23 minutes before 11 o'clock, we're in conversation with Songezo Zibi, who is the leader of Rise Mzansi. I want to take your calls now and your WhatsApps on 0727021702. That's where you can send us your WhatsApps. Your calls on 011-883-0702. Godfrey, let's start with you in Pretoria. Good morning.
Morning, Clement. How are you?
I'm all right, man. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Look, Songezo, thank you very much. We are happy to have you, the caliber of a leader you are. We're happy to have you, especially when our country is at the brink of collapse. The governance that you have, the background you have in terms of governance and managing the corporate one that we have. But can you please clarify one thing? Julius Malema once had a press conference and said your party was formed in order to dilute black votes in South Africa in order to prevent EFF to get maximum votes. And you are in the pocket of the Ruppers, you are in the pocket of this particular white monopoly capital. Can you clear that so that when we go with you, we are sure that we are intentional and we go with somebody who doesn't have a hidden agenda, somebody who is clear about where he wants to change this particular country to? And thank you very much.
Thank you, Godfrey, in Pretoria. Yes, thank you. Do you exist as Rise to destabilize the EFF?
No, not at all. I mean, you'll also notice that generally in our campaign, we hardly ever mention the EFF. We never mention the EFF at all. And that's because we didn't think it was important to target the EFF in any way. The majority of South Africans don't vote. The majority of South Africans who are eligible to vote do not vote. And it is those abstaining voters who can make a decisive difference at the polls, right? And we targeted doggedly those people, which is why we never spend time with the EFF. The formation of Rise Mzansi, interestingly, is generally all on YouTube because we started a process from Rivonia's Circle Days. And the events that we had, we would live stream them because some people just couldn't join, right? And all the way, including the meeting at the Pactonian, where a lot of people got up and said, we've got to start a movement, a political, but it's all on YouTube, by the way. There was no Rupert there. There was no Rupert there. So, no, it's definitely not true. Everyone that you see at Rise Mzansi is like you, Godfrey, and I. They either come from a village or they come from a township somewhere. And we're all concerned about the same things that Godfrey is concerned about. And we need South Africans to work together across races to deliver a better life for all of us.
Did you not know, though, even when you started the Rivonia Circle, that this is going to culminate in a political party? And I ask that because if history is anything to go by, that's how the parties start. Like I remember with, what's her name? The businesswoman, Rampele. That's how she started. She started a consultative process of sorts. Hemen Mashaba started the People's Dialogue. There's a Maibuye gent, Floyd, who's also doing a consultation. It's almost like everybody does this thing of we start with conversations and then they're like, oh, people want us to start a party. I'm like, but was that not the plan from the beginning?
So the plan was different. And part of what we wanted to do is to advance South African politics. I've spent quite a bit of time in Germany. The political parties there have something called a Stiftung, right? You see some of them, Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, etc., etc. These are think tanks that support certain ideas which some political parties propound, right? They also do leadership development and all the rest, do voter education, political education, etc., etc. And when we started Rivonia Circle, we wanted to create a center of social democratic thought as well as social democratic action, all the way to voter education. Rivonia Circle does something called Democracy Builder, where they teach people about how the South African state works and that kind of thing. So it was always going to continue, and I said that numerous times. So unlike these consultative processes where the thing comes to an end, it's important that the insights that you get from that process and the integrity of that institution continues, which is why Rivonia Circle still exists as a separate entity and so on. The success factor right across is that that institution does not take instructions from the political party so that it may keep it honest to the principles for which it is supposed to stand, right? And I know that for South Africans, it's maybe not a thing that is done. There'll be a political school inside. The problem with the political school is what happens to the ANC's political school. Tony Ngeni runs it, right? And the ANC dies. Like you are seeing it now, right? So anyway, no. The last point, Clement, quickly, is that we did not know the nature of the political intervention we would need to make in the end. We actually thought more about the fact that we could become a center for developing the kind of MPs and other high-quality political leaders that South Africa needs, who are social democratic in outlook and so on. But as we did the work, the mood became clear.
Okay. I want to go to David in Lenasia in a moment. Let me read this message now from Doskew. Says, good morning, Clement. I think SA is going through the phase of plunging down before a new one is reconstructed. We really have to come together, be intentional, and identify nationalists who would truly and faithfully pursue the national interests and future prospects of this country. David, you're in Lenasia. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement, and good morning to Mrs. Savisi.
Sure, go ahead.
Listen, I just want to work out, Boza, Rise Mzansi, and the Good Party. In the general election, I don't think they mustered more than 200,000 votes. Agree with that?
Is that a question, David, for him?
No, I just want to know how many votes. So that's why proportionally they've got couple of seats. When it comes to local election, you got to put up a candidate in every ward. Right? You agree with that? You see,
Go ahead.
Because, they voted on the basis of national identity, like Muzimani was known because he was with the DA and Mr. Sibizi was well known and that. But will they be able to muster enough candidates at local level to win at least one seat everywhere, or what?
So as a group of these political parties that will merge ahead of that?
Will they be able to get one or two seats in each council? What are their projections? How many seats do you think? Take Cape Town, right? Let's take Cape Town or Johannesburg. How many seats do you think they'll win from ward point?
All right. David in Lenasia, thank you.
Okay, a couple of things. So Good already has about 56 councillors countrywide. Just to, because I don't think he knows how many councillors Good has. So Good has about 56 councillors. The second thing I'm going to say is it's actually not just the three political parties as political parties in themselves. What we are working on is a political campaign and a political organization that is going to be as inclusive as possible. And it's important that South Africans come together in all their stripes in order to try and elect the best people that they can find. Part of the reason people don't contest, and we spoke about this earlier, Clement, is that you've got to be a member of a branch. You've got to be elected in the branch. You've got to be chair and that kind of thing. Part of what we've experimented as Rise Mzansi and Bosa did the same thing, is that you don't limit yourself to the party's members only. You have people with skills who come from elsewhere. And that philosophy is important. So I have got no doubt that whatever number of parties we end up with eventually, and discussions involve more than the 3 political parties, they really do. I just don't want to name them now. We will be able to make a difference in the political landscape at local government elections next year.
I want to talk about the GNU for a bit because as Rise Mzansi, you were calling for a reset of this coalition.
Yes.
Some have called for a reconfiguration, whatever that means. But I really got surprised to learn that you haven't been having constant meetings as the GNU. But I'm more surprised that the statement of intent was clear that there must be an agreed policy agenda that sort of guides this GNU. And I'm not sure if there's ever been an indaba of all of you in the GNU where you sit and you say, this is the policy agenda we agree to. Because it almost feels like you are now existing to, it's to rubber stamp existing policy. And what is existing policy? That's ANC policy that exists currently now. When you talk about a reset, what do you envisage in as far as this GNU is concerned?
3 things, Clement. The first is that the statement of intent is not enough as an agreement upon which you build a governing coalition. Each of the political parties has an agreement with the ANC. They don't have mutual obligations to one another. You do not have a common legislative and policy agenda as part of the agreement. You do not have substructures which are mandated by the agreement to exist in order that they may carry out the day-to-day business of the coalition. If you don't solve that structural problem, you can have as many meetings as you like. They will come to naught. It's like an organization without articles of association. Now, part of the reason we joined is that we also understood 2 things. One, voters have not selected the ANC to govern alone. They don't want that anymore. The second thing is that South Africa does not have in its democratic memory a coalition at national government. So it is going to get clunky. And the time period you have between elections and the formation of a government is not like Belgium and other countries where you've got 6 months to do it. It has to be done by a certain period so that certain processes of government can happen. So it was a clumsy process that took place. The reset we're calling about for is a single agreement with all of these elements that I'm talking about. So that the caucuses in parliament have a basis for working together. Because we have agreed over the next 18 months, these 4 bills must go through parliament, right? These policy positions must happen and they must be reflected in the budget, which means your budget conversation becomes easier because you've resolved the legislative and policy agenda. There's a structural problem in the GNU.
How legally binding should that agreement be? Because the problem with these agreements that are not so binding is that everybody has different interpretations. I mean, Helen Ziller and Fikile Mbalula differed till today about the interpretation on one section on the statement of intent that deals with sufficient consensus, for instance. So you can have an agreement, but how binding is it to the parties that have signed?
It's not so much that it is binding. It is, I think, the narrow-mindedness of some of the bigger political parties, the DA and the ANC in particular. The ANC sees itself subconsciously and otherwise as the big brother or parent in the relationship, which can kick people. I can't kick people out. There's a relationship between the ANC and the DA. They can break up the 2 of them. The other agreements remain valid. The DA didn't want anyone else to be involved. It was just them and the IFP who needed to get involved. So they became unhappy when everybody else got involved. That is where this thing went sideways, Clement. What we are calling for is for people to get the hell over themselves. The country is declining and declining fast. Law and order is breaking down. Institutions are breaking down. The cops, senior cops, take each other to court. It's on the screen here. They're busy fighting. South Africans have to fight crime on their own, right? You can't not have a structured agreement that enables you to drive a government and legislative agenda. Instead of fighting about who should join and who shouldn't join, and you had an agreement with us and you don't want to give us this victory, it's the kind of nonsense that pisses South Africans off about politicians. People can't get over themselves and their narrow interests, and it really needs to stop.
The ANC, you may argue, big brother personality, but the DA has also been criticized for this obsession of wanting to be the, for lack of a better phrase, the main one in this relationship, because, I mean, and that's continued in squabbles. How do you resolve that part? Because the DA is still clear, and their argument is, but we've got a constituency that we're representing, and therefore we're not going to compromise that by just taking whatever the ANC wants or suggests or puts on the table. How do you resolve the squabbles between these two parties? Because these are the problematic people in the GNU.
The squabble should happen in the meeting where we discuss the legislative and policy agenda, Clement. This is the fundamental problem. And I have to be frank here. It comes down to the president and deputy president as the two senior most members of the executive to make sure that this happens. They have not been diligent in executing on that, because there is a certain authority that comes with also being president of the country and president of the GNU. And the president has to perform his function assertively and with vision. It doesn't help to have endless conversation about, if you don't put the structures in place, then you're going to have a million squabbles. So I still come back to a structured agreement with mutual obligations. Then we can say, we met and we agreed. Here's the agenda. It's published. You, DA, or you, Patriotic Alliance, are going against the agreement, and we're going to kick you out because we agreed. You know what I mean? So we're going to vote and kick you out because you are now going against the policy positions that we agreed upon. That's a problem.
Here's a voice note that's come through.
Hi, Clement and the team. Hi, Mr. Zibi. Mr. Zibi, my question is with regard to the so-called state-owned entities. Do you think we need those state entities? Why I'm asking the question is that we tend to hear about them only when they need a bailout from the state. But when they make returns on investment, we don't always hear about them. So the question here is, when they make returns on investment, who benefit from that return on investment? Because the public do not always benefit from those returns. Thanks, David.
Thank you, David.
Quick one. You know, people who drive a Volkswagen or an Audi or a Lamborghini and so on, that's a state-owned company. It's co-owned by the state of Lower Saxony in Germany. You can never, even if that company, somebody purchases the majority of the shares in the Volkswagen Group, they can never take it out of Germany. It employs hundreds of thousands of people. It pays tens of billions of euros in tax. And it makes investments in areas, especially in the east of Germany, in areas where that needed the economic stimulus. The difference between Germans and South Africans, and Germans are social democratic, they believe in state-owned companies and the like. They don't believe that the state should have 100% of the risk. A bailout happens. Anything you own 100%, it's like a car. If it breaks down, you're going to need to fix it. Nobody's going to fix it for you. However, when you learn the difference between a strategic stake and owning 100% of the thing, is the day that you stop talking about a non-existent investment strike. The government does not need to own 100% of Transnet. It can own 51%. Use other people's money to make sure that we can move goods on the road.
The argument of the ANC, whenever I've attended their policy conferences, was that we need to use the SOEs for that developmental agenda.
That's a nonsense argument. Telkom is listed. Telkom still performs a function. We are able to stream right now because of telecom infrastructure. It's a nonsensical argument. It's stupid. This is why these people are no longer fit to take South Africa forward. Nobody complains about Telkom. People use OpenServe. The other service providers use Telkom broadband. The state has not bailed out Telkom in how long? There's something called a rights offer. If Telkom needs money, the other private shareholders are going to need to put in the money instead of taking money that should go to water and other services. The state has a strategic interest. It appoints some of the board members, not all of them. What the cadres want to do is to do what they're doing with the SETAs and use them as vehicles for patronage. This is why we need to move forward as South Africans and operate in the world for what the modern world is. We are killing ourselves and we are killing South Africans with ideological dogmas.
Mike says on the WhatsApp line, Clement, after you started the show on a somber note today, your guest really gives me hope for this country. That's Mike in Ivory Park. And then another one says, who's this one? New members says, hi Clement, I regularly engage with Songezo on Twitter. I try not to agree with him to test his thought process on some of the things that he says. And he is A's in the interviews most of the time. And I even tested him on the need for a collaboration between them and Bossa. And I'm glad to hear that they're contemplating a merger of sorts, because my vote, for different reasons, like in the past elections, was already split between Rise Mzansi and Bossa for provincial and regional. That's a message there from new members on the WhatsApp line. Songezo, let me thank you for coming to engage with us. I appreciate it. I hope next time you're back in Joburg, we'll have you back in studio.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. It's 2 minutes now before 11 o'clock.
Welcome to the brand new days.
Sail the world with Norwegian Cruise Line, with more to see, more to do, and more to enjoy. Plus, upgrade your holiday with NCL's More at Sea for premium beverages, specialty dining, and much more. Think international cruising. Think NCL. For the best deals available, visit ncl.com or contact your travel agent. Restrictions apply.
Welcome to the brand new days.
Outsurance has simply had their best results. Outsurance scored 9.99 on the Hello Peter Trust Index, a near 5-star rating on Google reviews, and have outperformed their personal best on the number of complaints per 1,000 claims referred to the Ombudsman. Switch to the insurer that keeps raising the bar on low prices, service and trust. Call 08600 60,000 or visit outsurance.co.za today. You always get something out. Licensed insurance FSP. T's and C's and information online.
Oh, Shane, do you have a sore throat? The Andalex range of lozenges offers 2 options. At the first signs of an irritated, scratchy throat, use Andalex lozenges for dual-action soothing relief. But for a painful, inflamed throat, use Andalex C lozenges for triple-action pain relief. Andalex, SA's #1 choice for a sore mouth and throat. Andalex lozenges are available at all leading pharmacies and supermarkets.
Just Andalex it.
Clement is on X.
At The Real Clement M.
All right, so coming up after the news at 11 o'clock, we're going to do our World of Work feature. And I want to know how you've been navigating being in the workplace with different generations. Because for the first time ever, we have 5 different generations working side by side. You've got traditionalists, you've got baby boomers, Generation X, millennials, and the Gen Zs. And I want us to talk about how to navigate these generational gaps in the workplace, because sometimes there are clashes. We do things differently. We hold different values in some circumstances. So I want you to share your own experiences with us, whether you are Generation X or you are a Gen Z. How have you been navigating working with other generations in your workspace? Give us a call or send us a WhatsApp voice note. It's 11 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Higher Education has written to Minister Buti Manamela to explain why he placed 3 SETAs under administration. Manamela recently appointed administrators for the sector education and training authorities on construction, services and local government. He cited governance failures, procurement irregularities and lapses in oversight as part of his reasons. But Manamela is now under pressure, with some opposition parties saying he did not follow the appropriate process and also appointed ANC-linked people as administrators. Higher Education Portfolio Chairperson Tebogo Letsie says the 12th of September has been provisionally set for the minister's appearance before Parliament.
There is a process that was supposed to have happened. We will find out in our engagement with the ministry what was that process and if it was processed properly, and if not, what will be the consequence for management, because it can't be business as usual. This is not the first time this thing is happening. It's as if now higher education and training is just about SETAs and being on media for wrong reasons.
The attempted murder case against alleged crime boss Vusmuzi Cat Matlala has been postponed to next week. Matlala will spend another week behind bars after his bail bid was pushed back in the Alexandra Magistrates Court this morning. The businessman is accused of orchestrating a 2023 hit on his ex-girlfriend, socialite Tebogo Letsie, and faces charges including attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and money laundering. Mongezi Koko has more.
Today's sitting was brief, with the court postponing Matlala's formal bail application to next week, Tuesday. The 4 other accused, including Matlala's wife, will return on the 7th of October, when 2 related cases are expected to be centralized. Of the group, only his wife and daughter of another accused are out on bail. The rest remain in custody. Magistrate Data Prinsloo.
The matter is postponed until the 2nd of September. Back to this court for formal bail application. He will then remain in custody, no bail.
The court says the postponements will give them time for evidence disclosure and for multiple cases to be streamlined into one. Songezo Zibi, Eyewitness News at the Alexandra Magistrates Court.
It's emerged that the 2 suspects linked to the murders of ANC councillor Sindiso Makaqqa and DA councillor Ntlayenza Ndlovu are known to each other. This comes after one of the accused was found with a cell phone and notebook in prison containing the contact details of the second suspect. Stanley Skosana, who is accused of killing Makaqqa, returned to the Umzimkhulu Magistrates Court for cross-examination in a bid for bail. Nhlanhla Mabaso was there.
During cross-examination in the high-profile murder case yesterday, State Prosecutor Advocate Lawrence Chaba led evidence from a witness statement implicating Skosana. While at it, he took a different turn, questioning his relationship with Eric Zuma, who is accused of killing DA Umgeni local municipality chief whip Ntlayenza Ndlovu, who was shot and killed in December 2023. Ndlovu was killed in full view of his wife, Pretty Ndlovu, and their little children. Advocate Chaba questioned Skosana about Ndlovu.
He is also applying for bail in the Harwich Magistrates Court for a politically related killing, same as you. You understand? What is of interest to the investigating team is that we are going to lead evidence in that bail application of him paying people to stop from coming to testify against him. Similar to you.
While Skosana admitted they met and exchanged contact details in prison, he refused to comment while Chaba pointed to similarities between them. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Umzimkhulu.
And India's Supreme Court has ordered an investigation into a wildlife rescue park run by the son of Asia's richest person, Mukesh Ambani. Anat Ambani is alleged to be involved in illegal animal imports and financial misconduct at the vast private zoo. Wildlife activists have criticized the facility, saying it's housing endangered species next to a giant oil refinery complex without any plan to return them to the wild. The court says while the allegations were not supported by evidence, an independent inquiry is needed in the interest of justice. Gold is trading at $3,376.17 an ounce. The rand is at 17.59 to the dollar, 23.69 to the pound, 20.48 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $68.50 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got a major accident scene in Alexandra on the N3 North, right near Marlborough Drive. It's causing delays while travelling on the Mike 1 North. Delays between Boyson's Road and the Crown Interchange.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 28 and 29 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Higher Education has written to Minister Buti Manamela to ask him his reasons behind placing 3 SETAs under administration.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Gauteng's greatest awards with 702 and Yoko. Your vote is not just a click. It's a thank you, a nod, a way of saying we see you. Vote for your favorite local business now on primemediaplus.com.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
7 minutes after 11 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the third and final hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us here on 702. Time for our World of Work feature.
702.
World of Work.
Which generation are you part of in the workplace? Are you a baby boomer? Are you Generation X? Are you a millennial? Are you part of the Gen Zs? And how have you navigated generational gaps in the workplace? This diversity is, of course, both a blessing and at times a source of tension, right? Baby boomers, for instance, often bring years of experience and a strong sense of loyalty to the table. And then you've got the Gen Zs that are entering the workplace with fresh ideas, digital fluency, and very different expectations, really, of what work should look like. And sometimes when these worlds collide, there are clashes that can arise, whether it's around communication styles or working hours, or even attitudes towards technology and authority. I mean, some people say baby boomers value loyalty and structure more, while Gen Zs sort of prioritize flexibility. You know, they'll tell you about purpose for work. And I wonder how accurate that picture is, even in the South African context. But like, do you think stereotypes about each generation, like boomers being stuck in their old ways or Gen Zs being entitled, are actually fair? Or do they do more harm than good? Because sometimes we enter the workspace and we come with these perceptions we have about these other generations. And that's what leads to tensions in the workplace. So how do you navigate generational gaps in the workplace? How do you deal with clashes that these gaps may cause? Have you had instances where you really found yourself as, I don't know, millennial clashing with Gen Zs because you just don't understand each other? Or maybe as Generation X or as baby boomers, where you're working with Gen Zs or you're working with millennials and you're just struggling because you can't figure it out. You've got a different way of looking at things. You've got a different way of communicating. And the Gen Zs are like, just send me a text. Why are you sending me an email? Why are we having a meeting when you could have just texted me or sent me a voice note? So how have you navigated that? I'd like to hear your experiences. You can call us on 011-883-0702 or send a WhatsApp on 072-702-1702. Lauren Clark is the head of people at Mint Group, joining us now on the line to guide us through this conversation. Lauren, thank you for making time. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Clement. Lovely to be here.
Why do you think that this generational mix in the workplace is such a historically significant moment for South Africa?
Yeah, I mean, this is a conversation that many companies and many people have been having for a couple of decades now, because our workforce has become more diverse from an age perspective, as many companies have raised their retirement age or removed it entirely, so we're keeping people in the workplace longer. And of course, we've got new entrants into the workplace, and across the globe, we've got 4 generations working alongside each other now. And in South Africa, it's particularly significant because we also have our political past, which makes for interesting conversations and perspectives that are also shaping the different generations and how they view their relations to each other and to the workplace. So it is very, very significant, and I think it's a very interesting time.
Yeah, it is indeed. What are some of the common clashes you see between, baby boomers and the Gen Zs in particular?
So I think the very first thing would be everybody has been slotted into these categories, and of course there are generalizations for each one. And very often people will make assumptions about somebody new in the workplace based on their age. They'll just make an assumption like, Gen Zs are entitled because, they're coming into the workplace and they want everything already up front without having to do the work. And the boomers are, making the assumption that, we've worked so hard and in our day we had to do it this way and we're the ones that have built this. So there is a lot of generalization or stereotyping that happens, and that is actually the cause of the conflict, because we're framing people without actually understanding the people. So if we just take those two generations, the boomers on the one side and the Gen Zs on the other, from the earliest boomer to the youngest Gen Z, you've got more than 50 years age difference.
Sure.
That's an exceptional amount of time and experience and life and exposure to even qualify. So you can't compare them. And I think, companies need to be very wary about inflaming conflict by creating these, generational silos. There are behaviors in each generation that will always annoy the one before. I think many young men in my age, I'm a Gen X generation, and, just not cutting their hair, just having hair that touched their collar was enough to drive headmasters absolutely through the roof, and of course grandparents and dads, you can't have long hair, that's shocking. And I mean, there's always going to be a behavior that will annoy the generation before, and when you are growing up, you are pushing boundaries. That's what the youth do. We need teens and 20 years, people in their 20s, to push the boundaries and to challenge the stereotype, because otherwise we will always just be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And once you start kind of stabilizing and getting into, just for example, family cycle, or you buy a house or something, you tend to kind of stabilize and find a middle ground. But I think it's dangerous to have this very strict stereotype frame with the different generations, because that is what is causing the conflict.
And I mean, technology and cultural shifts have really influenced the way all of these generations approach work. And hence you've got sometimes people who say, the boomers value loyalty and structure, the Gen Zs prioritize flexibility. But my question is, how can organizations turn the generational differences into a competitive advantage rather than the source of conflicts? Because sometimes I feel like workplaces are not adapting quickly enough to bridge these generational gaps. It's almost like, all of you are now in this one space, just figure it out.
Yes. And I agree with you 100%. I think the impact of the pandemic, which shifted the way we view workplace and highlighted the fact that there are a number of jobs that can be done remotely, or work can be more flexible rather than the fixed 8 to 5 mentality that we had prior to 2020. I think that's actually had a bigger influence, because it's made the different generations identify a commonality amongst all of them, and that is valuing their own time. And so when you have conversations with different teams or with people of different generations, instead of going, we're so different, this is never going to work, I think companies should be focusing on what are the commonalities. So across generations, everybody wants to own their own time. Or across generations, everybody wants to have some kind of purpose. Why am I here? So you might have, the older generations, they might word that as in progress, career progress. They might be looking at a vertical career progress as a recognition of my purpose. And younger people might view exposure to more, understanding how the business operates, looking at different opportunities, bringing different thinking as their purpose. And so when we look at it, rather understanding the people and understanding what the individuals are bringing, instead of just classifying them as, oh, you're a millennial, therefore you will think like this, you provide opportunity for dialogue. And that dialogue brings about really strong social capital. People are having conversations, and the irony or the least spoken concept of these generational differences is that we have a lot more in common than we don't. But it's much easier, of course, to inflame those differences. So there's a few differences, and my favorite that people talk about is, the connection, how different generations want to connect. According to all the graphs and the data out there, my generation is phone calls and direct communication. Me personally, that is my worst form of communication. Like, I hate talking on the phone. My phone is always on silent. I'm not that person. So, but if you're just going to group me as Gen X and like all Gen X want this, then I'm not going to respond accordingly. So I think companies need to take the time, and leaders within those teams need to take the time to understand the team, understand the people's strengths, and then play to them. So if the Gen Zs are tech savvy, use that as a tool to get the whole team tech savvy. Okay, don't like kind of turn it into this thorn in the old person's side, like, oh, you don't know how to use these apps. Well, then show them how to use the apps. Include them in that, rather than turning these conversations into like weapons.
Absolutely.
Turn them into tools.
True. Lauren, let's take a quick ad break. When we come back, I want to take some calls and WhatsApp voice notes as well. What is your experience of working in an environment with people of different ages? Do you work with baby boomers? Do you work with Generation X, the millennials, the Gen Zs? How has it been? I mean, some of you have to be managers as Gen Zs and millennials to like Generation X or to baby boomers. And I imagine that can also be so complicated. Let me know your thoughts and your reflections, just sharing your experience of how you've been navigating just the differences in how you do things. 011-883-0702. You can send WhatsApps as well on 072-702-1702.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to 6.
You are critical of the decision taken by the minister and the action. Do tell us why.
The minister has sought to try and obfuscate the process. She appointed a solely unqualified person, Professor Gregory Davids, in my opinion, to chair the board.
Right.
You look at the current board, there are people with chairing experience, industry experience. Here you get an academic with no substantive board experience and no industry experience. And she doesn't appoint a deputy chair, John, which is the first time SAT's never had a deputy chair.
David Frost.
John Perlman.
3 to 6 on 702.
Fresh, precise, and full of artistry, your sushi sport turns every plate into a masterpiece. From classic rolls to bold creations, they make every bite memorable. Whether it's your go-to for special occasions or your Friday night indulgence, they always deliver, right? It's freshness you can taste and presentation you can admire. Now's your chance to say, I see you. Vote for them as Gauteng's greatest sushi bar now at primemediaplus.com. Voting closes on the 27th of August. Make it count, because Gauteng isn't just the hub of business, it's the home of excellence, and excellence deserves your applause. Gauteng's greatest awards with 702, powered by Yoko.
Whenever you hear deep in the heart and art of jazz, think Sia Makuzeni with the big band, Jasmine Horn, Alun Wad, The Baylor Project, Jose James sings Badu, Umu Sangare, Esperanza Spalding, Michelle Ndujiocello, Elaine, Tezo, Munei, Mondli Ngobo, and many other spectacular icons. Think Standard Bank Joy of Jazz Festival, 4 stages at the Sandton Convention Center, 26th, 27th and 28th September, and take me there. Book via Ticketmaster.
Spar brings you super savings. Get 1 liter 6-pack Spar Long Life, full cream, low fat or fat-free milk, excluding lactose-free, for $89.99 with Spar Rewards, or 900 gram original Bacoma Wheat Bix for $49.99. Save 15 Rand with Spar Rewards. Plus, you could win your share of 6 million Rand in instant cash. Prices valid until 7 September 2025. While stocks last. T's and C's apply.
2 iconic South African acts, 1 unforgettable stage. Jeremy Loops and Ladysmith Black Mambazo present Echoes Between Us, live at the Teatro at Monte Casino on 19 and 20 September. Experience this once-in-a-lifetime collaboration of rhythm, harmony, and heritage with these exclusive shows. Tickets on sale now from Web Tickets, proudly supported by 702 and 947.
Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
From your vantage point, right in the sort of middle of the industry, how worried are you about what's going on here? I mean, do you know what is going on here?
To be honest with you, we're not worried. We're used to this, unfortunately, is what I can say. The tourism industry leadership being kind of up and down and left and right.
Mark Waxberger, CEO at Capital Hotels and Apartments.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show, Stephen Curtis, is brought to you by APSA CIB, proud sponsor of the SARA Rail Conference 2025. Your story matters. APSA is a registered FSP.
702.
World of Work.
22 minutes after 11 o'clock.
Hi, Clement. I have come to realize after COVID that I am more productive working from home compared to working in the office, because in the office we spend most of our time assisting the grandpas and the grandmas on how to retrieve a deleted email, on how to save an email into drafts, on how to unsend a WhatsApp message. So we spend a lot of time teaching the grandmas and the grandpas on how to do things, and we teach them every day, but tomorrow they already forgot how to retrieve a deleted email, and you're gonna teach them the next day again, over and over again.
No, don't say that, man. Don't call them grandmothers and grandfathers. Listen, I am a millennial. Am I still a millennial? Millennial. Is it at 35? Am I still a millennial, or am I? Okay. The producer says I am still a millennial. So as a millennial, I still don't know how to unsend an email, or I'm terrible, in as far as technology is concerned. So I do think that it's not only because of their age, because I know people who are older than me who know how to navigate that better than myself. Oh, but yeah, that made me chuckle a bit.
Good morning, Clement. Londi from the Netherlands. I had quite a hard time while back in SA when we had a new employee who's a Gen Z and I'm a millennial. Very difficult to give instructions to, very ambitious, but there wasn't the ambition had no direction, and one really struggles to guide them and to really just show them at least how to do things, or for them to even take simple instructions or even tasks, So I had, quite a challenge when it comes to working with that particular person who's a Gen Z.
So there've been some challenges. So Lauren, there is a question I got here from an employer who says, so how do we better prepare then? How do we make sure that as employers we get all our employees who are in one space from different generations to just learn how to work with each other and not say grandparents, or say this, they don't know technology. How do you get them to work together? What's your advice for employers out there?
Yeah, that's a great question, Clement. And I think it's a question that many organizations are asking and are faced with right now. And I think the very first thing would be to start with the collective purpose. So why are you here? Does everybody understand the purpose of the organization and their role and why they are here? Because once we've got an individual understanding of what my purpose is in this role and what I'm here to do, it starts creating this common language that we can then talk about. Because I think what is happening, and just listening to the callers' messages and that type of thing, you've got individuals from different generations that demonstrate the characteristics that cause the conflict. Okay. But there are a lot of individuals in those generations who don't do that and who are embracing change, embracing that type of thing. So I think it's also very important to go into these conversations with a collective purpose of why are we in this, what is the purpose of our organization, what is the purpose of my role? And then really to be very intentional about understanding how people perform best in terms of how they learn best, how they are managed best, and put that into practice rather than looking at, okay, well, all the 25-year-olds, you have to do it this way, and all the 35-year-olds, you have to do it this way. The third thing is to create a safe space where knowledge sharing can happen across generations, because each generation does have something to share and something to learn. And if you can encourage a learning mindset in your organization where it's safe for people to put their hand up and go, I don't know how to do that, can you show me? And not be called grandpa or granny, or, to be judged in a negative way, because nobody is perfect and nobody's going to get it right on the first time.
Absolutely.
But if we go into the organization with a mindset around how can we do this, okay. I just want to also say the issue with the generational conflict also comes from an attitude. So it's not, we're not talking about I'm giggling because the hair thing is coming back, because I really did have a manager that I worked with once who called me for an important meeting because she had a consultant in her team and his hair was scruffy, and she was 60, and she was like, he can't be a consultant. He can't go and see a client with a messy hair. But my response to her was, what is your expectation? You want a client, you're looking at it like when you want a client, you want somebody neat and tidy, and you're projecting that. Is he competent at what he does? Is he respectful? Does he understand the requirements of the role that he's in and the outcome? Because the thing you're getting hung up on, how important is it really? And so it's also to just understand the small things, the irritations, the frustrations. Are they a personal peeve? Is it something that's really annoying you because you don't do it that way and this is not how it should be? Or is it an expectation that you can voice, speak up, clarify, and move forward? And I think that's just something. So, any kind of engagement in the workplace requires intention, and with the generations, this is a huge superpower for organizations. It's a huge advantage to have all these different kinds of thinking, exposure, educational experience, and that type of thing coming together to improve service delivery, relations.
And we can complement each other. Can you imagine the magic you create when you just all your different interests, your experience coming all together? Let's listen to these WhatsApp voice notes.
Hi, Clement. Let me rather remain anonymous. So I'm a millennial, and obviously coming up in the workplace, I was managed by Gen Xers. And now I am in management myself, and I manage Gen Z. And when I was coming up, it was, strict workplace, nothing too bad, just strict. And you knew you were at work and you respected work as work. You knew you needed to work and get things done and submit on time. Now managing this Gen Zs, oh my goodness, Clement, it is butting heads every day. DJ Ziegler got in trouble a while back about saying the youth is not only unemployed, but they're unemployable. And the moment I started employing Gen Z, I could understand exactly what she meant. It's the lack of drive, the lack of will to work. They need to be told what to do, when to do it all the time. And it is very frustrating. And something that I never had to be told. I just knew I had to work. So that is what I find frustrating. And I try not to assign their generation to their, I don't want to say laziness, but their apathy towards work. But it seems to be that it is related to that.
Hey, Clement, and your guest, Paul Johannesburg. Your previous caller is so horribly mistaken in his judgmental comments about the grandpas. I understand I'm a generation baby boomer. I started with DOS 1.0. And I'm now probably more tech savvy than any MCSE, and I'm not blowing my own trumpet. The bottom line here is that we cannot get to work with these new youngsters because there's no internship. We can't integrate. I've been saying this for many years. South Africa needs an internship program. I'm very fortunate to work in the aviation sector, designing avionics. And I've met people that started at Boeing at age 16 as an intern. They're now fellows and they teach people. Us baby boomers are the teachers, but we need to be We need to allow this integration to take place. And your guest said it quite nicely. There is no understanding of them unless we have this, what I feel is an internship. 2 years, it looks after their CV. It also looks after the ability to see somebody for what they are, as opposed to hiring and then getting caught up in a labor law situation. Anyway, Paul Joburg.
Paul, thanks for that. And I think we all teach each other. We all can learn from each other. But fair point you're raising there. Lauren Klug, head of people at Mint Group, thank you for joining us for this chat. It's 11:32. Maki, good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. The Justice Ministry is set to brief the media about the postponement of the Madlanga Commission hearings this afternoon. The Commission into alleged police capture announced the postponement in a statement earlier this morning, citing procurement delays after it was originally scheduled to start next week. President Cyril Ramaphosa established the Judicial Commission of Inquiry into criminality, political interference and corruption in the criminal justice system. In the Western Cape, 2 people have died and 2 bystanders wounded following a shooting at the Makassar Heights taxi pickup point earlier today. This comes a day after 3 other people lost their lives at a taxi rank in Philippi East and Khayelitsha. It's understood that the recent escalation of violence between Kata and Kodeta resulted in the death of 2 people at a taxi rank in Philippi East yesterday, leaving 4 others critically injured, with victims including passengers, while a taxi driver was shot at the Vuyani taxi rank in Town 2 in Khayelitsha, with 3 other people sustaining injuries. And China has condemned the killing of 5 journalists in Gaza. Yesterday, an Israeli strike on Nasset Hospital killed 20 people, including the journalists. Gaza's government media office says the journalists worked at various publications, including Al Jazeera, Reuters, The Independent, and the NBC network. Those are the headlines. This Eyewitness News and more at midday or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by cars.co.za. Let's find what moves you. Amu, how we working on the road?
Well, Clement, we still have got delays on the Golden Highway. This is in the Devland area. This is due to those long-term roadworks taking place along this route. As a result, delays between the N1 and Union Avenue. While traveling on the N1 North in the Sunninghill area, an accident reported right near the Baku interchange. Delays as you come out of Rivonia Road. In Paulshof, we've got queuing traffic along Witkoppen Road. Just as you approach Rivonia Road exit, please be on the lookout there. And then delays also along the R23. This is in the Boksburg area approaching the N12 exit. Please be on the lookout and drive with care. That was your last traffic update from me, Amo Ramela. Otherwise, Karabujali will keep you updated with the roads from 12 o'clock onwards.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
8 out of 10 radio listeners suffer from CAR, or car advertising on repeat. Symptoms include fatigue, anxiety, and confusion. With so many car ads coming at you on your daily commute, buying or selling a car can feel overwhelming. But there is a cure.
Cars.co.za. Whatever car you want to buy or sell, cut through the and just go to Cars.co.za and let's find what moves you. Cars.co.za.
Mzansi, get ready to Panda Pusha Play Powerball and Powerball Plus for 76 million rand in total estimated jackpots this Tuesday. That's right. Play Powerball for an estimated 31 million rand and Powerball Plus for an estimated 45 million rand today. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529# for USSD. Panda Pusha Play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
So you thought you were building a business? In this economy? Good luck. But day by day, somehow it grew. You became payroll, procurement, PR, and pressure valve. You kept going when the freezer didn't freeze, the bucket didn't budge, and the bank balance barely blinked. What's that saying again? What doesn't kill your business makes it stronger? Or at least it should be that. So you thought you were building a business. You weren't. It was building you. Because this isn't just what you do anymore. It's who you are. And you don't trust just anybody to protect it. Chat to your broker about Old Mutual Insure Business Insurance. Protect what built you. Old Mutual Insure Limited is a licensed FSP and non-life insurer.
The Checkers Hyper Price Drop is here.
save up to 40% on deals like Steakhouse Classic man-sized T-bone steak for 140 Rand per kilo, save 20%. Nescafe Classic instant coffee 200 grams, any two for 199 Rand, save 91 Rand. And Parmalat bulk cheddar or Gouda cheese 600 grams, any three for 249 Rand, save 126 Rand. Deals valid until this Sunday, only at Checkers Hyper.
On Saturday, the 20th, catch Don Tolliver, Questa, Inkabi, Zezwe, and many more. Then on Sunday, the 21st of September, immerse yourself in the incredible performance from legendary Lauryn Hill on her 25th anniversary tour with special guests Wycliffe Jean, YG, and Zion Mali, and local icons like Lyra, Mandi Sichan, Chizo, and more, also taking the stage on Sunday. Don't miss out. Get your tickets today on ticketmaster.co.za to experience this unbeatable vibe this Heritage Weekend at the Kyalami Grand Prix Circuit. The DSTV Delicious International Food and Music Festival, powered by Lotto Star and proudly supported by 702. More info on deliciousfestival.com.
702 Health and Wellness.
Time for our health and wellness feature now, 22 minutes before 12 o'clock. And today we are discussing cosmetic facial procedures like your Botox, for instance. This was something that was seen as a luxury reserved for your Hollywood celebrities, right? But actually, these kind of procedures like Botox have become increasingly common here at home with people from different walks of life seeking it out. Are you one of those people who have done a cosmetic facial procedure? And how did it go? Because for some, it's all about reducing wrinkles and maintaining a youthful look. But for others, Botox has medical uses, right? Some people say it helps them to treat conditions like migraines, excessive sweating, and even muscle spasms. But as demand rises, so do the questions around safety and accessibility, but also the issue of affordability and the social pressures that are driving people, particularly women and even younger South Africans, to consider these treatments. So even these cosmetic facial procedures, are they simply a beauty trend, or do they actually reflect something deeper about how we see ourselves and how society values appearance? So, have you done a cosmetic facial procedure like a Botox? How did you go about doing it? Where did you do it? And how did that go? Are you happy with the outcome? Let me know, please. Give us a call or send us a WhatsApp voice note. Dr. Maureen Elim is an aesthetic doctor who's going to guide us through this conversation. Dr. Elim, thank you for making time. Good morning.
Morning, Clement. Thank you for having me on your show.
So I just, learned something from my producer this morning, and I want you to explain it to the listeners because I think it's a moment just to educate, right? Botox is actually a brand. So cosmetic facial procedures, Botox falls under that as a brand of its own. Whereas many of us have always thought when you talk about Botox, then that just means the procedure itself.
Yes, absolutely. But botulinum is a Schedule 4 medical drug, so it's very difficult. And to actually mention the word Botox, you actually have to use wrinkle relaxers, neuromodulators when you're speaking, to the press and that. As a medical doctor, you cannot actually use that word. So we call it an injection, or we call it wrinkle relaxers or neuromodulators.
Interesting. Okay, so when we talk about things like Botox or the cosmetic facial procedures, what exactly are most South Africans doing those procedures for? And have you seen the use of these procedures growing in South Africa over the past couple of years? Because it at least appears like that to me.
No, absolutely. I first started doing botulinum at the end of the year 2000. I think there were only about 5 medical practitioners in South Africa doing these injections. And I came upon it very, it was a great moment for me. It was an aha moment for me when I realized what this injectable could do to make someone more approachable. Because a very high profile person in South Africa was known to be a very very troubled person. She looked very troubled because she had these deep forehead wrinkles. And then, I think in one of her overseas trips, she went for this injectable treatment and it changed her whole demeanor. She looked more approachable. So when I read that in a magazine, I thought, wow, this sounds like an amazing treatment to do. And then obviously I went and I looked for it and I found a plastic surgeon at one of the big hospitals, and I went with 4 of my sisters and we all had the treatment, and it was quite incredible how it just changed a person's look and how it made you feel. So that is why I think most people want to come for the injections. It just, it's not vanity. It gives you vitality. When you look in the mirror, you see the person that you want to see. You don't see this tired, cross-looking person.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so popular.
Okay, who's seeking these treatments more, Doctor? Are we seeing more young people turning to it much earlier, or is it still mostly, popular among the older age groups?
Look, usually the older age group, but it's not a magic age group when you should come for this injectable. So when you look in the mirror and you see these fine lines appearing between your eyebrows or on your forehead or around your eyes, that's when, people come in and do the treatment because they want to just modulate this expression and prevent those deep wrinkles from forming. So it could be we have a patient in their late 20s, but it's usually like in the early 30s and 40s, and sometimes even, the decade of 50, that patients come in wanting to just look better and feel better about themselves, because it definitely gives you confidence. And we know that by injecting, this neuromodulator, it actually modulates the limbic system, which is your emotional processing center in your, your limbic system in your primitive brain. So it has amazing benefits as well. And I think there was a study that was published that it actually lifts depression. So the many numerous benefits from having this injectable treatment.
And beyond the aesthetics, what are some of the medical uses of these injectables that South Africans might not be aware of?
Okay, so what it's registered for, FDA approved, is to help migraines, to help prevent migraines, from happening. And they're not quite sure how it happens, whether it's the peptide that modulates, the migraines in the brain, or whether it does something. They're not quite sure what it does, but definitely helps depression. We have patients coming in who've got like pain in their jaw, their jawline, in their major grinding muscle, the masseter. And it's life-changing when you give, targeted injections into this muscle. And within a week, they start feeling the pressure receding. And by relaxing that huge biting muscle, you not only, feel better, by relaxing the muscle, you actually protect your teeth. Because when you grind with force, you cause these tiny micro fractures in your teeth. And eventually with time, your teeth start cracking up. I'm sure, as you get older, you have to go to the dentist more often because you've got these micro fractures, especially if you grind your teeth at night or even during the day. So that's what it does. It just releases the pressure on the teeth. So definitely for bruxism. And then another one is for, excessive sweating, under the arms especially. And that can be life-changing for a person because, they're very limited to what they can wear because they get these large white, sweat stains. So by doing the injections in the armpits, it's amazing. Within 2 weeks, their life has changed because they're not sweating as much. And this usually comes from heat. But more importantly, I think it comes from stress, especially when they have to go give a presentation. And that's when, when the adrenaline starts pumping, that's when you really notice that they start, they start perspiring.
Yeah.
It's that. And then, so spasms, for cerebral palsy children, they do the botulinum injections to relax the muscles. So there are many medical indications for botulinum. And it all started for around the eyes. When people have got a condition called blepharospasm, which means that you blink uncontrollably. and you blink so badly that you actually become functionally blind. And that's how this whole miracle drug was discovered by an ophthalmologist who used the botulinum to help her with her blepharospasm. And then the patient came back and said, doctor, look how amazing my wrinkles are. I've just got this amazing expression on my face. And that's how it all started.
Okay, I see. All right, Dr. Elim, I've got some questions from listeners that I want to give them an opportunity to ask and some inputs as well. Salome in KZN, I see you. I'll come to you in a moment. Dr. Nandi in Parktown North, I see your call as well. I'll start with those after the break.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
South Africa's tourism sector is at a crossroads. You remember, of course, last week, Minister Patricia de Lille dissolved the board, the very board she appointed herself. They're calling you Dictator de Lille. Are you?
Let me say there's absolutely no crisis in the tourism sector. We just had one-day execution lab with the full sector. The Tourism Business Council, all of them were there. So there's no crisis.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Do you know what's hiding behind colorful packaging of unhealthy food? Big food companies target children with unhealthy packaged foods that hide high levels of sugar, salt, and fat, which could lead to heart disease, diabetes, and hypertension. But the truth is hidden from consumers. Front of package warning labels are a proven solution to help consumers make informed decisions. The government must act now. We have the right to know what's in our food. Demand front of package warning labels. Sign the petition on heala.org, HEALA.org by 30 September.
The Festival of Motoring, powered by Westbank, brings the spirit of Ubuntu to the Kyalami Grand Prix circuit from the 29th to the 31st of August. Experience thrilling track drives, 4x4 adventures, drifting, supercar hot laps, and F1 demos. Get your tickets on Howler and use the promo code RADIO for a special discount. The Festival of Motoring, the power of new.
Ready, jet, go! 2 fully paid trips to the Abu Dhabi Motor Racing Spectacular must be won in the thrilling new JetX competition exclusive to Hollywood Bets. An unforgettable experience awaits on one of the fastest circuits on the planet, with the world's top drivers battling for supremacy. To stand a chance to win, bet 10 Rand or more on JetX. 1 million Rand in cash is also up for grabs. Hollywood Bets. Fly higher with our multiplier. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
702.
Health and wellness.
10 minutes now before 12 o'clock. Let's go straight to your call. Salome in KZN. Hi.
Hi, Clement. I just wanted to find out, in terms of qualifications, when I go for consultation, who can actually do these injections? Because sometimes you find out that the GPs or somebody at a spa treatment, they actually say, no, you can come in for 250 whatever mils of an injection, come through, and then you can do this. How safe is it? What should I be looking for when I go for consultation?
Yeah, great.
Any kind of qualifications.
Great question, Salome. Thank you for that. Dr. Elim?
No, absolutely. You have to be a qualified medical practitioner or a dentist. Those are the registrations that are allowed to do botulinum injections. And you have to have training. I mean, it's very nuanced where you put the injections, so you can have if you do too deep in certain areas, you can have an eyelid drop, your eyelid drops or your whole brow drops. So it's very important that you go to a proper medical clinic that has doctors on site when you do your botulinum injections. I know there are many places that are offering, cheaper botulinum treatments, but it's all about price, safety, and results. And if you go for price, you might be compromising safety and results. So it's very important that you go to a proper medical practice to have your injections. And the medical practitioner has to be extensively trained on botulinum injections. You know, so at our clinic, skin renewal, our doctors train for 3 months before they even see a patient, you know, a live patient. So it's, you know, that's what we pride ourselves on, extensive training, ongoing education. That's what's so important, because in the wrong hands, it can go wrong. You know what I mean? And it can look fake, but in the right hands, it looks amazing. Your look is invisible. You just look, you know, you have that amazing expression, and that it looks like you've been on holiday. And that's exactly what you want. You want patients to think that you're so rested and you look like you've been on holiday.
Got it. All right. Dr. Nandi in Parktown North. Hi.
Good morning.
Hi, Dr. Nandi. Go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to share my experience. I'm actually an aesthetic doctor. I've been doing this for about 7 years now. And the clients that I've treated, it was about anti-aging, where they wanted to get rid of the wrinkles, especially the one that's bothering most people is that line, that vertical line between the eyes, whereby you look angry all the time, and that drooping eyebrow, because when your eyebrow is lifted at the end, you look, you know, like happy all the time. And then my clients have also been happy with treatment done for migraine. Migraine, it helps a lot with migraine, as well as excessive sweating, either on the forehead or on the armpits. And I must say that I've had a very, very, very happy clients, you know, using the toxin, the botulinum. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's and mostly, Dr. Nandi, in your experience, is it mostly women coming to you? And is it do you have younger people also taking it up much earlier?
Actually, when I started this aesthetic practice, I thought I was going to be dealing with, like, I'm almost 70. I thought I was going to be dealing with middle-aged or elderly women, but it's the span from 20 to 45 that is mostly my client, because they want to enhance their looks. They can afford it. It's these young executives, up and coming, self-employed, some of them, and they just want to improve their looks. They want to look younger and thereby enhancing their confidence. It's actually something I did not expect, because things like the anti-aging has been labeled as a snobbish thing for rich, you know, American women and so on. But most of my clients, and it's both male and female, and in particular the LGBTQT community, I have many clients from these young guys, you know, in marketing. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Nandi. Thank you so much for sharing that experience with us. I appreciate the call. Dr. Lim, I'm getting really some questions about what consumers need to be aware of. And I know Salome asked that question about how people should be qualified. But what advice do you give to our listeners who really want to try this out, but they want to make sure that they do it in a safe manner with a reputable practitioner and not someone who's unqualified?
Yeah, like I said before, Clement, it's price, safety, and results. So do your research. You can go online. You can see before and afters. Very often it comes, you know, most of our patients come from word of mouth. Patients saying, you know, go there because you're going to get a great treatment. It's going to be a great experience. And to make sure that the clinic that you go to, you know, there's feedback. You know, like the next day, you know, the manager should phone and say, "Are you okay?" And in 2 weeks' time, they'd follow up again, and then also to have a follow-up treatment, you know, after 2 weeks to see exactly, especially if this is your first time that you've had these injections, to see whether it's perfect, and then we make a note of exactly where we injected, which we have from the first appointment, and then we can modify that with a follow-up appointment, and then the next time you come, it's pretty simple. We have the template for where to inject, and you know the nuances that have to be taken into account. So do your homework, do your research, go online, look at all the different clinics, and see, you know, And also, we have a live chat which you can go online to and chat to qualified people who will explain what it's all about.
Got it. Yeah, Dr. Maureen Elim, we're out of time, but thank you so much for that. She's an aesthetic doctor. It's 4 minutes now before 12.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
I was listening to the news and certain authorities in Parliament talking about Operation Dudula. We also agree that it is not a desirable, neither is it a thing that we should encourage, that people should be taking the law into their own hands. I argue if government was doing their job in terms of looking after our borders in the correct way, we wouldn't have to deal with all of these different issues as they enjoy life on the backs of the poor. And once again, I look to our political elite and I say, shame on you, you treacherous traitors.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
My guy, tell me how date night was.
Bro, I'm telling you, my arrival was too clean. That sporty exterior, the 1.5 turbo engine, just turns heads.
But what about date night?
Yeah, it was chilled. But the Jolly On Pro, it's on another level, bro.
Sometimes the drive is the best part. The Haval Jolly On Pro from only $4,299 per month. Visit gwm.co.za for T's and C's. GWM. Go with more. Brought to you by GWM Finance, a division of West Bank, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
When I say insurance, you say pineapple. Insurance.
Pineapple.
Insurance.
Pineapple.
Insurance. Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
Spar brings you super savings. Get 2 kg Tastic long grain, parboiled, brown or soft absorbing rice assorted for $34.99. Save 10 Rand with Spar Rewards, or 2 liter Spar sunflower or canola oil for $69.99 with Spar Rewards. Plus, you could win your share of 6 million Rand in instant cash. Price is valid until 7 September 2025 while stocks last. T's and C's apply.
When you vote in Gauteng's greatest awards with 702 and Yoko, you don't just support a business, you help rewrite its future.
Gauteng's greatest, powered by Yoko, impacted our business in a very positive way. We've had a lot more feet coming through the restaurant. It's given us a lot more traction in the market, and we've seen a lot more new faces. As Grumpy's Cafe, I would encourage people to go onto Prime Media Plus and vote for their favorite establishment.
How it impacted my business, I think, is mostly through increased awareness of my brand. I think it expanded our reach a bit. And I think the biggest thing that I felt was just a kind of a buzz and an energy in the shop. I love books. We would encourage you to cast your vote at Prime Media Plus.
Gauteng's greatest awards with 702 and Yoko. Your vote is more than a click. It could be a game changer for your favorite local business. Vote now on primemediaplus.com.
Coming up next, the Midday Report with Mandy Wiener. How are you doing, Mandy?
I'm well, thank you. How are you, Clement?
Good. What's popping today?
Well, the Madlanga Commission into police capture has been postponed, so we'll find out about that. The Justice Minister is having a briefing at 1 o'clock. We'll speak to the EFF on that issue as well. Kat Matlala is back in court today. The IEC is giving an update on its preparedness for the local government elections. The local government elections are the end of next year. And already we've got mayoral candidates and the IEC briefing. It's going to be a long election campaign.
It's at the end of the year. I was hoping it'd be in the beginning of the year.
No, so it's the end of 2026, early 2027.
Yeah. Oh.
So, yeah. And then Stats SA is releasing the Victims of Crimes survey. Housebreaking remains the most experienced crime in South Africa. By that, I mean more South Africans experience housebreaking than any other crime.
Okay, looking forward to more details around that. Mandy Wiener coming up on the Midday Report. Thank you for listening to the Tuesday edition of the Clement Manyathela Show. We'll be back again tomorrow between 9 and 12. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Bye-bye.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Maki Malapo. We begin with news, Justin. The Constitutional Court has denied the family of Zambian former President Edgar Lungu leave to appeal in the battle to determine where his remains should be buried. The family approached the Apex Court after the High Court ruled in the Zambian government's favour, ordering that Lungu's remains should be repatriated back to Lusaka. The family is adamant to have him laid to rest in South Africa.